to appear in court on his behalf to avoid being linked to the case. At the time, the state alleged Lerutla was seeking employment as the Metro CFO. Prosecutors say Lerutla has been linked to another case where a motorist was killed after he crashed into their car. He allegedly paid someone to dispose of the body. Mkhwanazi was arrested with a large amount of ammunition, which he claims was lawfully given to him prior to his suspension. He's also been linked to other serious allegations emanating out of the Madlanga Commission, but this arrest is separate and not linked to the Madlanga Commission. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
And in KwaZulu-Natal, National Coloured Congress leader Fadil Adams is expected to apply for bail. Adams is facing charges of fraud and defeating the ends of justice for allegedly interfering with an investigation in the murder case of ANC politician Sindiso Magagwa. Nhlanhla Mabaso has more from KZN.
Last week, the prosecution told the court that although it initially had no intentions to oppose bail for the accused Fadil Adams, its attitude was changed by circumstances surrounding him. It pointed to Adams' behavior since the warrant of arrest was issued against him. State Prosecutor Advocate Zwele Tumata addressed the court.
Information that also the state seeks to properly procure and properly place before this court is information relating to the behavior of the applicant towards courts and the criminal justice system.
Mata added that Adams also failed to respect a court order against him.
We will place before this court his defiant behavior on a court order in instances where he even pronounced profanity to the court.
He says some of this will appear in the affidavit of the investigating officer in the matter. The case is being probed by the Political Killings Task Team. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Pinetown.
And publicist and entrepreneur Maria Mlo has died. Her family confirmed this morning that Mlo passed away last night at Milpark Hospital in Johannesburg following heart failure. Maria was widely known for her work as a DJ, a publicist and fashion designer. Her family says they will remember her for her kindness, warmth, generosity and unwavering love for those around her. The Clement Manyathela Show hosted Maria Mlo last Thursday on the Hanging Out feature.
I kind of always have made it work, being a journalist and being a publicist, also doing clothes, also DJing, all doing it. And someone said, if you were rich, what would you be doing? Like, what would you want to do if you had all the money in the world? And I said exactly this.
Gold's trading at $4,699.21 an ounce. The rand is at 16.50 to the dollar, 22.32 to the pound, 19.36 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $106.44 a barrel.
In the traffic in Midrand, look out for 40 traffic lights in Midrand at Old Pretoria and Olifantsfontein, in Groenkloof at the R21 and Fountain Circle, as well as in Centurion at Old Johannesburg and Brakfontein.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 25 degrees. Developing on EWN this hour, it's a busy day for the courts in the country with a number of high-profile cases sitting today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, good morning. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. It's great to have you with us here on 702. We always love keeping you company. I trust grand this morning. The 702 open line starts now on 011 883 0702. The WhatsApp line is 072 702 1702. Le amoretjwe mo lenaneong la rena. So that's a pedi, that's Sepedi, the language, and it means you're welcome to our show. I'm saying that because I was reflecting this morning about my fluency in vernac. And I wonder how often you speak your mother tongue. Like, do you find that you're starting to lose it because you speak English almost the entire time? Because I feel like I've started to lose the two languages that I used to speak so fluently, Sepedi and Isindebele. I mean, I can still speak the language as well, but I'm not as fluent as I used to be anymore. And this is worrying me a lot because I would like to teach my children these languages because that's part of their culture and their identity. But we speak English a lot, guys. At work, with our friends, and then when you get home, you still have English. And I wonder if you have found the balance. How do you ensure that you are still retaining that fluency? I try listen to Bo Tobela FM. It's a Sepedi radio station. Or Mushito Chwela Pele. That was their tagline back in the day. I also try listen sometimes to Ikwekwezi FM. It's an Isindebele radio station. What was it? I don't know what their tagline is now, but it used to be Lapo Sikona Gunogu Kanya, which means where we are, there's light. Oh, yeah. I have tried to encourage my friends to use vernac when we speak, but we end up forgetting. Lord help us. How do you do it? Are you intentional about not getting stuck with English when not necessary? How do you make sure that you don't lose your fluency in your mother tongue? Whether it's Afrikaans or Chitsonga, French, you name it. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. I come to you this morning with a broken heart because this morning the family of Maria Mlo confirmed that she has passed. Maria Mlo is the cultural pioneer that we hosted on the show last week on Thursday on our Hanging Out feature. And before I give you more reflections, I just want to read you the statement that came from the family. It reads, "It is with deep sorrow and heavy hearts that we confirm the passing of our beloved sister and media industry giant, Maria Mlo, who died at 50. Maria sadly passed away on Tuesday evening, the 12th of May, 2026 at Milpark Hospital in Johannesburg following a heart failure. Maria, a vibrant and creative soul who embraced life wholeheartedly as a DJ, as a publicist and fashion designer, was loved by her family, her friends, her colleagues, and community at large. Her kindness, warmth, generosity, and unwavering love for those around her touched many lives and will never be forgotten. She had a special way of bringing people together, and her presence brought comfort, laughter, and love to all who knew her. She leaves behind her mother and two beloved sisters, Tandiwe and Natasha, along with countless family members and friends who are devastated by this loss. During this incredibly difficult and shocking time, the family humbly ask for privacy as they grieve and come to terms with their loss, and kindly ask that you keep them in your thoughts and prayers. The family also extends their heartfelt gratitude for the outpouring of love, messages of support, and condolences received since the news broke. Regarding her memorial and funeral service, that will be communicated in due course. With love and gratitude, the Mlo family." So, it's so heartbreaking. And I was saying to Bongani that, yes, there's quite a heavy sense of sadness that I feel, but I also feel a bit of joy in that we were able to give her her flowers while she is still alive. And perhaps that interview that we did with her last week was her bidding us farewell. And I'm glad we had the opportunity to appreciate her. The funny thing is, when I told her that I needed her on the Hanging Out feature at some point, she was like, why me? Because, Maria is a designer. She's a lot of things, including a publicist. And she works with like really big brands and works with these big artists. So whenever we would even need interviews and we want to interview an artist, like Maria makes that happen, right? She was the person that we went to when we wanted to speak to and interview some of the artists that she represents. So she was like, but why me? Like, I'm not a celebrity. I was like, no, it's not about that. In fact, you are Maria Mlo. Like, you are a big deal. You're a cultural pioneer. You're an incredible designer. And you have been shaping the city's creative landscape since the late 1990s. And to wake up this morning to news of her passing is incredibly sad. And my thoughts and my prayers are with her family, all of her loved ones, and condolences. And I hope that we can always just go back to the words she said last week and hold those dear to our hearts and know that this is someone who fully lived, who fully enjoyed life, and who enjoyed what she did. And I'll play you a clip, in fact, where she says, someone asked her, if you were rich, what would you want to do? And she said, I would be doing exactly the same thing I'm doing. And what an opportunity she had to live her dream and do the things that inspired her, that she was honestly quite passionate about. This is someone who's been shaping the city's creative landscape for so long. I mean, go back to her founding the groundbreaking Black Rage Productions and Outrageous Records, which helped launch the careers of artists like Proverb and Reason. She built an Afrocentric accessories and fashion label. She was rocking the decks at some of Joburg's most vibrant events. So we're talking about someone whose fingerprints are all over the city's cultural DNA. And I think for that, she really deserves to be honored. So if you want to share your tributes with us this morning and send some love to the family and your thoughts and your prayers, please, give us a call on 011-883-0702. You can send WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. The official unemployment rate has climbed to 32.7% in the first quarter of 2026, up from 31.4% at the end of last year. And that translates to about 345,000 jobs lost in a single quarter, bringing the number of employed South Africans down to 16.8 million. Can you imagine 16.8 million employed people? Out of how many are we? 60 million? For young people, this picture is even more dire because the youth unemployment rate for those between the ages of 15 and 34 now sits at 45.8%. So this focus on unemployment, great, but we also want to hear from those of you who are employed, because even if you are currently employed, you are not insulated from this crisis. And perhaps you are the sole breadwinner in your household. You're carrying the financial weight of family members who cannot find work. Perhaps you're watching friends, neighbors, or recent graduates in your circle close to you, and you're just hoping month after month. That's what they do, these graduates. And perhaps in your own workplace, you are noticing a shift in how employers treat their staff, because they know that for every person who walks out, there are dozens desperate to walk in. So how is the unemployment crisis touching your life, even while you have a job? Like, are you the only employed person in your family? And what does that pressure feel like? What are you seeing in your circle? Is it getting harder or easier for people to find work? Like, have you noticed employers becoming more demanding, less flexible, or quicker to remind you how replaceable you are. In the state of the job market, I wonder if it actually makes you think twice about asking for a raise or pushing back on unreasonable demands or even leaving a toxic work environment because you know how difficult it would be to try find another job. So I would like to know from you how unemployment has affected you, whether employed or unemployed. The numbers only become real, really, when it's a fully qualified member of your family in your social circle who's struggling to find a job. And I think almost all of us can point to someone we know who is a graduate and is unemployed. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 0727021702. At 10 o'clock, we're going to be doing our monthly feature. We call it Exploring Spirituality with Vusumzi Nqande. And today we'll be discussing the clashes that sometimes exist between cultural wedding practices and the law. And then at 11 o'clock, we do our Listener's Choice feature. Today, we are talking Debt Review 101. What do you as a consumer need to know? What is it? What is a debt review? What is it for and how does it work? I mean, many South Africans are under severe financial pressure due to the rising cost of living, high interest rates, mounting debt. So debt review is often then presented as a solution for over-indebted consumers, but there are still many misunderstandings about the process. So on our Listener's Choice feature this morning, we'll take you through that. We'll wrap up the show at 11:30 with the sharing space. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement and the listeners. So I actually listen to a lot of Motsweding FM during the day. Usually I would listen to Bongani, I would listen to your show, and somewhere during the day I would then switch over to Motsweding. I think it's actually helped me to sort of stay in touch with my Setswana and not drift too far away. And it's actually helped quite a lot. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Morning, Clement. Utembile. I hear you about the language thing. Me, in my ripe old age, it's a big number, can't say it. But anyway, a few decades older than you. But I intentionally, I've got friends. I live up in Joburg, have done so since the late 70s. Left, yeah. But my friends that are in KZN, we text each other in isiZulu completely, and we add izaga, proverbs, and etc. That's how we do it. When we speak in isiZulu. Obviously, sometimes you just mix a bit, but when we text in isiZulu. My kids, I speak to them, I speak to them both in Istswana and isiZulu from when they were very young, so they're fluent in both. Yeah, I read isiZulu books. I listen to Ukhozi. That's how I do it.
Good morning, Clemson and the 72 listeners. Yeah, Clement, you know what? I'm Tsonga, and I love speaking Tsonga. I love my language. I try my best to speak it every time, as much as I can. But I find a problem, even when I'm speaking to my fellow Tsonga people. They sometimes don't believe that I am Tsonga. If I meet you for the first time and I start speaking to you in Tsonga, I get that surprised face. You know what I mean? And sometimes mid-conversation to a Tsonga person, the Tsonga person would then revert to maybe Zulu or English, and I'd be like, no man, let's stick here, let's stick with the Tsonga. Yeah, but how I maintain speaking my language, I listen to the Tsonga radio station, Nganonene, and I follow a lot of Tsonga people on TikTok, Plus, I call a lot of Tsonga people. I'm always on the phone. It's Masungu in Protea.
Yeah, Masungu. Rio Lebuha. Yes. Are you looking at it? Is right? Rio Lebuha. Da. I think that's Oh, that's Venda, ne? Oh, it's not Chitsonga. Okay. The point, though, is I think we speak English so much that we end up. I mean, sometimes when my mom calls, I find myself like, "Hello, unjani nkhona." My mom is in the bell. All right, okay, get right, and then jump into English after the greetings. That's not good. At least for me, I don't like that. Like, I want to raise children who are going to learn Sepedi and Isindebele as part of their culture and identity. And what I'm asking you this morning, how do you make sure you don't lose that fluency? Because the temptation is to just speak English. I mean, the whole time. At work, ke Sekgowa. O ya gae ke Sekgowa. Le ditšhomi tša gago ke Sekgowa. Aowa. And sometimes I encourage my friends, stop talking to me in English, and I must stop talking to you in English. Zulu, let's speak Zulu, I'll speak Sepedi, and let's find our way towards each other. How do you do that? I have completely failed with my friends. I think they've disappointed me, and maybe I've disappointed them too, because we've never been consistent. But how I keep that fluency is I listen to Tobela FM sometimes, I listen to Ikwekwezi FM, just to hear them speak that fluent vernac, and that just sort of reminds me of my own. It's 24 after 9.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Clement, what's shocking is that Maria walks everywhere. She, half of the time, I would say 60% of the time, obviously, if it's out of her reach and maybe she has a meeting, then, she'll use Uber. But she was against the idea of driving or getting a car because she was such an avid walker of the city, an avid walker of the suburbs. When she used to stay in Yeovil, she would walk to Rosebank all the time, walk to Rosebank, walk to Melville, walk to Braamfontein, avid walker. And for the reasons that she passed on for, it just doesn't make sense because she was one of the most active and healthiest individuals. Maybe not a marathon runner like yourself or a gym enthusiast so much, but her health was one that she's always up and she's always walking. It was just so unfair that what caused her death was the reasons of cardiac arrest. That just doesn't make sense, right? Maria Podesta.
Yeah, Maria Podesta. I asked her about that song last week when we had her on the show. Oh, it's just so heartbreaking. Like, my heart is just so heavy. But also, I'm at a stage in my life where I'm learning to celebrate people who pass, and I don't want to spend a lot of time wallowing in this darkness and sadness. And yes, those are feelings you can't ignore. And I can only imagine how difficult that must be for the family. But I'm saying for me, I'm trying to get to a point where I actually want to spend more time celebrating the people who have passed, celebrate how they've lived, celebrate what I've learned from them, celebrate what their contribution has been to either my life, to whatever industry they were involved in. So yeah, please keep those tributes coming. 011-883-0702. Let's go to your lines now. We've got Peace Mabe, who's the Deputy Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, calling us this morning. Thank you for calling, Deputy Minister. Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me, and good morning to you and to your listeners. I also called after hearing the sad news of the passing of our young, talented female creative leader. I didn't know her personally, but I knew her work and, of course, the lives of other people that she has touched. And for that, we are grateful for her life, and we can only learn from her contributions. You touched on two important things this morning: the issue of language, the use of language, and, of course, the passing of Maria, who was also an Africanist.
Yeah, very much so.
A young woman who also never see any boundaries. She would combine her work with other African countries. She understood the use of fabric, very intelligent. You will carry one handbag, but it will be a contribution of 3 or 4 African countries. And people would not even understand that. So she saw life beyond being a South African. And that's how educated and talented she was, and creative, of course. The use of language, it's another struggle for us.
Yeah.
But I think language it's a choice. You choose what language you want to communicate in. If you are familiar with the Xhosa people, I'm a Xhosa, they speak Xhosa, and you will learn to speak Xhosa because they will not compromise. And I'm saying that because I grew up in the West Rand. I'm a Motswana speaking person, but I write Xhosa. I even dream in Xhosa.
Really?
Because we'll always joke about the fact that we're colonized by Xhosas, being a young activist in the structures of the ANC. So Xhosas will dominate. So I'm saying it's an issue of choice, No, I speak Xhosa. I can even write in Xhosa.
Yeah.
I even dream in Xhosa. So Xhosa is language is a choice.
Yeah. No,
and again, after touching on these 2 important issues, the passing of Maria and the use of language, yesterday we just passed our budget, and I went through my budget speech. Yes, I fairly covered the issues of the use of language, and the bill that is currently underway. The recognition of sign language as well. We need to also encourage people to learn sign language. It's very important.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I looked at how I captured or reflected on arts and culture, the promotion and development of women in the arts development and the development programs that we are bringing. But I never said anything about fashion. And Maria's passing will make sure that I must never leave any important platform without promoting fashion.
Yeah. Deputy Minister Peace Mabe, thank you so much for your call this morning on the 702 Open Line. I'll continue with your calls and WhatsApps, your tributes. Eagles, on a lighter note, on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, Mara, what is it that you do when you interview people and they pass away? This is not the first time. It's scary. People will be scared to be interviewed by you. I think Eagle is also referencing, it's because City passed how many months? Or a couple of weeks? Was it a couple of weeks after we had her on the Hanging Out feature? And that's why I'm saying, for me, I'm glad that we were able to, because it's important for people to know that their work has been appreciated. And Maria has been doing a lot of work as a cultural pioneer, someone who loves the city, who loves this continent since the late 90s, and taking time to celebrate and appreciate such people, I think, is so important. It's 9:31. Sfiso has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. Suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula has returned to the Pretoria Magistrates Court, this time around alongside alleged crime kingpin Ket Matlala. Their case is in connection with a multi-million rand tender that was awarded to Matlala's company in 2024. They've been joined by other police officers implicated in the matter. Police have found drugs worth more than 100 million rand in the northwest. The operation happened at a suspected drug lab just this morning. Photos released by police show a highly sophisticated operation, including industrial machinery allegedly used to manufacture the drugs. This bust comes as the Matlala Commission continues to place police handling on narcotics cases under the microscope. And Iran's chief negotiator says the United States must accept Tehran's latest peace plan or face failure after U.S. President Donald Trump warned the truce in the Middle East war was on the brink of collapse. The war, which erupted more than 2 months ago with U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran, has spread throughout the Middle East and roiled the global economy despite the ceasefire, impacting hundreds of millions worldwide. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Edenvale, traffic is moving slowly on the R24 West. This is as you head towards the Kululis interchange. Over on the M1 North, it's also experiencing slight delays. This is from Ethel Oaklands all the way to Grayston Drive. You can also look out for faulty traffic lights in Bramley at the M1 North in Quallet, in Rand Park Ridge at the N1 North in Beyers Naudé, as well as in Four Ways at Winnie Mandela and Monte Casino. In the capital city, also be aware of faulty traffic lights in Centurion at Old Johannesburg and Parkfontein, in Hatfield at University Road and Linwood, and lastly in Pretoria, CBD at Lillian Goy and Francis Bard. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Sunshine, I imagine you were disturbed reading unemployment figures yesterday following the report from Statistic.
Definitely one was quite disturbed by those particular numbers because beyond the numbers are human beings, are people, are young people that have lost their dignity because of lack of employment or lack of opportunities.
What are we doing to address this, Sunshine?
I think the country needs to ensure that there's confidence for businesses as well as private sector.
Dr. Sunshine Miende, the Executive Chairperson of the National Youth Development Agency.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702. Some people walk with you for a season, others for a lifetime. I remember how they always made me feel safe. When I needed reassurance, they explained what came next. And when I became someone's whole world, they guided me with calm and confidence. Through every chapter of my life, there was always someone there.
To every nurse, thank you for leading with care. Happy International Nurses Day. MediClinic, expertise you can trust.
There's a song that goes, "Money can't buy me love." And that's true. But then they told us all you need is love, which anybody with a mortgage will tell you most certainly is not true. Love won't pay your parking tickets or your student loan. It's also needy. It requires effort, availability, constant care. But more importantly, love requires time. And while money can't buy you love, it can certainly free up some of your time. Time to spend on the things you love, with the people you love. And if you're looking, maybe even time to find the one you love. That's why, after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time to do the things you love. And don't you love that about investing? Ellen Gray, long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
Tired of seeing the same tiles everywhere you look? Charm Decor is where you'll find something different. We curate high-quality imported tiles and mosaics that transform your space into something truly special. Design-led collections, easy online shopping, and samples delivered straight to you, so you can choose with confidence. Trusted by interior designers, architects, and home renovators. Discover tiles that inspire. Charm Decor. Visit charmdecor.co.za and order your samples today.
Not every change feels like a choice. Some arrive as disruption. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton is a podcast about those moments where life moves first and you have to catch up. And now you can catch it all. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton. Coming soon on PrimeMediaPlus.com, the Prime Media Plus app, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Powered by First Light. Therapeutics for the modern mind.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. We're taking your calls, your WhatsApps, 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Let's go to Nare, who's calling us from... Oh, we've just lost Nare there. Let's try get Nare back on the line. Let's go to WhatsApp voice notes in the meantime.
Morning, Clement. Lindo from Johannesburg. I didn't know Maria. I only knew her when you had the interview last week. And I listened to the interview and, oh my goodness, I thought, what a wonderful pioneer. I immediately looked through her socials. I went through her Twitter, her Instagram, and I thought, oh my goodness, what a pioneer of a woman. And to just learn today that she passed on really is so, so sad. My deepest condolences to the family.
Yeah, no, condolences to the family. Indeed. It's just sad, guys. It really is. And I suppose that is it. It's that with death, right? It catches you by surprise. You can never fully be ready for it. And even in this case, I mean, if you go on Instagram, you'll still see the stuff she posted yesterday on the Instagram stories. So this person was living life as normal last night, already, yesterday, throughout. Lived life normal. There are things that she posted late yesterday that are still on her Insta stories. And then boom. But hey, that's life, hey? I've also been asking you about the issue of languages this morning and how you try and keep your fluency in your mother tongue, whether it's French, whether it's Afrikaans, whether it's Chitsonga, whether it's Chivenda, whether it's Swati, Sepedi, isiZulu, you name it, Setswana, Sesotho. How do you keep that fluency? Because we live in a world where English is a medium of instruction. That's the language of communication. But we dare not forget about our cultural identity. And languages are part of that identity.
Clement, you read my thoughts this morning. On Friday, I was just doing a presentation to, because I'm a programming extraordinaire. So I do a lot of programming in terms of radio stations. And, I speak so much English that when I meet people that speaks like our language, Setswana, Zulu, and whatsoever, I get so excited. I want to do the presentation in that language. So, you read my thoughts. Like one of the guys, I was actually telling them that, can we just speak Setswana just for today, nje? So, thank you.
Hi, Clement. Speaking to Andy there in Breaking Down. Speaking of radio station, the influence in terms of language. I come from a very, very strong Zulu background, but when you can hear me speak Setswana, you can say, Hore, Andile ke Motswana, Khantinya ke Mosimane wa Letebele, as the Tswana speaking people will say. I learned it from Radio Mabatu back then. And at school, I had Tswana friends. So each time I would hear something new on radio, I will always refer to Johnny Mokhale. So he had a very, very strong influence on me in terms of language. Challenges, writing it, but speaking, Andile in Breaking Down.
Good morning, Clement and the 702 family at large. Yes, I think we are sufficiently exposed to English as a language. At work, at school, during the day, everywhere we go. I see no reason for us as a family ukuthi sikhulume isiLungu endlini. With my friends, I see no reason ukuthi sikhulume isiLungu because we come from the same tribe. So, where we can, we preserve our identity and culture. Stick to what you and your people do best. Other than that, I do not change my radio station. It's forever on 702.
Good.
Queens.
Good chap. Good chap, Queens.
Hi, Clement. I realize that my Tsonga as well has been a little bit affected because I've not been talking Tsonga most of the time, especially in Gauteng. So what like other guys do from time to time, I would just tune into Mungana Lonene, because that's the only station in the country that really talk in Xitsonga that we can access. But yeah, it's not easy though, because you need to make sure that you don't neglect that part, more especially when you are here in Gauteng, alone here in Ekurhuleni.
Hey Clement, yeah, very interesting topic. What I do is I listen to Muturing FM, and they've got that short story. We call it the soapy now, and it's got a omnibus on the weekend. I think on Sunday after 2, just before the sports for Sunday. Yeah, it's very interesting, and I normally Yeah, on the weekends, yes, I listen to Muturing FM, especially when I'm with my son in the car, so that he can understand.
Mm. Okay, back to your tributes to for Maria Mlo, Greg on the WhatsApp line. Oh, this is Greg Matoma, the Greg Matoma, the choreographer, who says, "Oh dear Clement, I'm so sorry to hear about Maria Mlo's passing. She was instrumental in publicly announcing many of my projects, and in these challenging times of bringing audiences back to the theatre, her contribution was invaluable. Her support significantly expanded our reach, particularly with our last production, Genesis, the beginning and the end of time. On behalf of all of us at Gregory Maqoma Industries, we extend our deepest condolences to her family and friends. May her spirit rest in eternal peace." Yeah, thank you so much, Greg, for sending the message. And yeah, what maybe that was actually the last show that I attended where I saw her. When I went to see Genesis, the beginning and the end of time, which was such a brilliant production. And Maria was always instrumental in just making sure you are in the building when these projects come alive. And yeah, that's probably the last time we were at a thing together where we attended the like this theater production. Yeah, but what a giant, hey? Thank you so much for the condolences to the family and her loved ones. Stephen, you are something seems to be wrong here with the lines, eh? When I'm taking them. Yeah, so we'll get IT to help us out here. But it looks like when I'm taking your calls, somehow they get cut off. So we'll sort it out in a moment. In the meantime, let's try go to the WhatsApps on 072 702 and 702.
My good sir, my brother Clement Manyathela, King Peter. You did justice to the interview you had with Maria. I listened to it most of the time because I was on the road at the time. Little did we know it was going to be the last. Oh, yeah. May her soul rest in peace. What a vibrant young woman she was. I still remember how she explained how her friends surprised her at their birthday party. I don't know what to say, my brother. Condolences to you, to her family and her friends. May her beautiful soul rest in peace. God bless you.
Yeah, Tato on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, Maria came to say goodbye to us on the show last week. God works in mysterious ways. May her cross over to meet our Creator be smooth. That's Tato in Randburg. Stephen, you are in Reimsach. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you, man?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, we are very sad. So I'm a founder and a director of the soon launching streaming platform, Black Owned. We termed it African Celebration TV. We are going live on the 1st of June. Now, Maria was one of the partners that we just entered into because then she was going to carry on, the creatives corner. I remember the last time we were talking that we no longer have creative, places where we hang out.
We spoke about that on the show last week, actually.
Yes, we did. And we said to her, don't worry, we're going online with our own platform. So we're going to hang around. So we were scheduled to have a meeting on Friday this week to conclude the show. How she's going to come on board and stuff. So, wow.
Yeah.
But the devil is a liar. We're going to go ahead. We're going to honor her. We're going to honor her and every other person, including Tidi Madia. I don't want to make you cry, Clement, but on the 1st of June, we're launching our own current affairs. We're calling it ACTV News 24. So one of the people that we're going to honor on that show, we're going to get there. Yeah, so I'm so devastated with the passing of Maria.
Yeah, it is devastating. And all the best, Stephen, with your new project. It's 13 minutes before 10.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
My show is about getting you informed by the time you get to the office, your place of business, or wherever you need to go. Hopefully, you have a fairly good idea what's happening in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and around the world. We want you to be part of those water cooler conversations, and you will be part of those conversations because you'll be a better informed citizen. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is the ecosystem that we have built, the community. It's all about connection because we may be different, but ultimately the people you talk to and the people you hear are facing issues just like you.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's a home for dream creators, operators, and change makers. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Josie My Josie to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk Babize Bonke. On Sunday, the 26th of July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Johannesburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be part of something special. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the city of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, walk for the people, and for our Josie. Babize Bonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
If you're a fan of the beautiful game, you'll recognize this. And this. But what about this? It's your chance to score big time. Win your share of up to 2 million rand with Standard Bank. It's game day every day. To enter, open and use any qualifying Standard Bank account, in-app or in branch. Already a Standard Bank customer? Sign up for Standard Bank Connect online to get a bonus entry. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Many of us take taking a deep breath for granted. But for some infants with RSV, every breath is a battle. Respiratory syncytial virus is a contagious virus that can lead to serious illnesses, including lung infections. Fortunately, protection for infants against RSV is now available in South Africa. Ask your healthcare provider about keeping your baby protected during their first RSV season.
For over 4 decades, Exaro and Eskom have powered South Africa together. Now, that partnership grows stronger. On Friday, catch the Clement Manyathela Show live from the official opening of Exaro's Mine 1 expansion project in Kriel, Mpumalanga. The milestone marks a major investment into a long-term coal supply to Eskom's Matla power station and continued energy generation for millions of people. Don't miss the conversations shaping SA's energy future. That's the Clement Manyathela Show, live from Matla Coal Mine on Friday with Exaro, powering progress across Africa and beyond on 702.
702.
WhatsApp Clement
on 072
702
1702.
9 minutes before 10 o'clock, I want you to listen to part of the conversation we had with Maria Mlo last week on our Hanging Out feature. And I would encourage you to go watch the full interview, watch it on YouTube or listen to it on podcast. But I really do believe she was bidding us farewell. And this is part of the chat we had.
Exist from now on.
Yeah. Well, Maria Mlo, thank you so much. We appreciate you and thank you for your contribution to the culture and the scene and the industry. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be invited, and Kutlwano and Dino are listening too. Dino's
Shout out to them.
He is a lecturer in journalism in England, and Kutlwano is in Italy and has a podcast called the Shades and Layers podcast.
Beautiful.
So I'm just...
Is there anything else you like? That's always been on my list and I want to achieve that.
Well, like I was saying, I just was talking to someone at City Press who just told me that this is their last edition. So I'm wondering, I'm so sad about media and journalists, what's happening. Like, we're losing TV and newspapers and even online. So I'm worried about that and looking at that, like, what is my next move going to be, I kind of always have made it work, being a journalist, then being a publicist, also doing clothes, also DJing, all doing it. And someone said, if you were rich, what would you be doing? Like, what would you want to do if you had all the money in the world? And I said exactly this.
This.
Wow. I would like to carry on like this. I would definitely like to travel more, travel throughout the continent, make things, make clothing and jewelry throughout the continent. But I also want to keep telling African culture stories in whatever medium that's going to exist from now on.
Clement, you know, the one thing that always struck me about Maria, and people who were calling in last week said the same thing, is that she would acknowledge you every single time she saw you. And so I think the best thing we can do is every time we see someone wearing her clothes or her jewelry is just to carry that same sense of humility and recognize her art, which I think will live forever. Rest in peace, my queen. You have run your race.
Clement, you are spot on, Maria. You know, man, Maria's life needs to be celebrated. Let's go back to 2017, Afropunk, you know, her involvement from a PR and marketing point of view to get the festival to where it ended up being. Look at Basha Uhuru playing a big role with Cornhill to transform Basha to what it used to be, to what it is today. You know what I mean? I've got an establishment in Parktown North. She played a big role in the past year to get the place to where it is today, how it looks like, the kind of lineup we curate. Maria, man, you know, it's if we had to speak about Maria and what she's done for the industry, we'll talk for the whole day. May her soul rest in peace. Condolences to her family. We just need to go on and celebrate her life.
Yeah, true. Paul says, Clement, just a short tribute to our multicultural and ever-talented trailblazer, Maria Mlo. I met her back in 98 at the beginning of what used to be called Greenfield radio stations, the likes of Kaya FM and YFM. She was in partnership with one media trailblazer who read news at Kaya, Kutlwano Skosana, and a guy called Zino, the brains behind Rage Productions. She definitely touched our lives in different ways, from a fellow media personality, fashion designer, and DJ. Robala Boroko Khaitsedi. That's a message from Mpo on the WhatsApp line. Again, another part of the conversation we had with her last week.
I feel sad because I followed it for you know, we work in the city. I make my clothes at Effie Mall Studio in town. I do my embroidery in town.
Kept it
my
the
bag
studio.
making in town. Yeah, Effie Mall and Tula Cindy, who are my fashion mentors, are in town. And when I did shoes, they were made in town. The beadwork people I work with are on Mai or on, like, you know, Market Street. And I buy cloth on Market Street. And, you know, the knitwear, where I make my knitwear, isn't far away. So everything is kind of city-based for creatives. And we can see it falling apart, and that's really sad.
Yeah, quite hectic. And then another person, a lot of you are sending really tributes and your condolences to the families. Tsepo says, hey Clement, condolences to Maria Matloi's family. What a way to bid us farewell on your show last week. May her soul rest in peace. Our thoughts and prayers with the family. And yeah, let's keep the family in our prayers, because this must be so difficult for them. I'll play you the last clip from the conversation we had with her. If you want to listen to the full interview, I encourage you to go check out the podcast or go watch it on YouTube.
Part of the 702 family.
My name is Franz Gate. I've been in Johannesburg since 2004. And I accidentally got onto 702 listening to John Robbie because I'm a mad sports fan. But I cannot believe the quality of broadcasting that 702 has played in my life. It's added so much value to my curious nature, and 702 ticks all my boxes.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion, because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a Clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. It's easy to apply. No medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
Solve exciting riddles and unravel a web of suspense and adventure with Hollywood bets and spinners on Kim Mystery Parcel. You stand a chance to win a share of 1 million rand in cash and bonus bets. Start your quest and bet 2 rand or more on selected Playtech slots every Wednesday between 2:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. and Sunday from 4:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. What scintillating secret will your parcel reveal? Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. You're with Clement Manyathela.
702.
2 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Hi, Clarence. I am shocked. I'm stunned. Maria, a shapeshifter, culture maker, just unparalleled on her own, and a curator of life. Met her, experienced her, just an experience of a divine individual. This is unreal. This is unreal. Yeah, man. The best of culture, of experience, of whatever that life presented. That's Maria. Thank you.
Morning, Clement and the team. This is Mo here from Albertine. Yeah, geez, look, I didn't know Maria up until I listened to the interview last week. I was so inspired with the work that she has done. And then I was driving when I was listening to the interview. But when I got home, I later watched the podcast. She's such a wonderful woman. At 50 years, life it's something else. There's a saying that says bophelo ke semphego. Life is unpredictable, eh? The next thing you are there happy, and then the next thing you're gone. Sure. No, thoughts and prayers to the family and friends. Jesus. No, thanks, Clement.
Yeah, rest in peace. Rest in power, Maria. And once again, condolences to her family and her loved ones. It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. It's another busy day for the courts in the country with a number of high-profile cases sitting today. We start in the capital, where suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masumula has appeared in the Pretoria Magistrates Court alongside alleged crime kingpin Ket Matlala. The case is in connection with the multi-million rand tender that was awarded to Matlala's company in 2024. They've been joined by other police officers implicated in the case. The matter has just now been postponed to the 26th of June. In Mpumalanga, lawyers representing Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni, who allegedly has ties to Ket Matlala, have accused the state of using delayed tactics in the taxi boss's extortion case. Sibanyoni, who runs a multi-million rand taxi empire, was arrested yesterday alongside 2 other suspects. Police say the trio extorted an undisclosed amount of money from a businessman over an extended period in Mpumalanga. Sibanyoni is making his first appearance in the Kwaggafontein Magistrates Court. Mongezi Koko is there.
High-profile lawyer Sean Abrams, who arrived at court with Sibanyoni's wife and other family members, has criticized the National Prosecuting Authority for what he described as a lack of communication. Abrams says his legal team made several attempts to contact prosecutors to discuss the details of the case ahead of Wednesday's appearance, but claims those attempts were unsuccessful.
The state has been silent. They've been absolutely quiet. They've ignored our telephone calls. The investigating officer switched off his telephone. The director of public prosecutions didn't come back to us.
Sibanyoni faces an extortion charge alongside 2 co-accused, while police say a 4th suspect is still being sought. Monke Zikoko, Eyewitness News, Kwaggafontein.
Police have found drugs worth more than 100 million rand in the northwest. The operation happened at a suspected drug lab this morning. Photos released by police show a highly sophisticated operation, including industrial machinery allegedly used to manufacture the drugs. This bust comes as the Madlanga Commission continues to place police handling of narcotics cases under the microscope. Meanwhile, evidence leaders at the Madlanga Commission are still in the dark about the real motive of a crime analytics officer who left his desk job and bungled a major drug bust operation. Yesterday, the commission heard testimony of Marumo Machane, who works in the SAPS Crime Information Management and Analysis Center. On 9 July 2021, Machane followed a tip-off about a truck carrying drugs where police confiscated 751 kilograms of cocaine. Tabiso Goba reports.
On the 9th of July 2021, Crime Analytics Officer Marumo Machane says he received a call from Gauteng Traffic Officer Samuel Mashaba. Mashaba allegedly told Machane he had information about a truck carrying a large consignment of drugs. Machane, whose primary job duty is to collate and analyze crime statistics, left the office to investigate the matter. When the 2 men reached the truck, they failed to cordon off the area, broke the seal of the container without taking photographs, and handled the drugs without any gloves. Commission Chairperson Buyiseli Madlanga questioned Machane why he involved himself in a matter he had no jurisdiction over.
You were clueless, and you knew that you were clueless.
That's correct,
Mashaba was clueless, and you must have known that he too was clueless, correct?
Correct, Commissioner.
What on earth were you doing handling any of the objects there, the container and the contents? What on earth were you doing?
Commissioner, we were innocently trying to process this.
There were suggestions Machane was attempting to leave with the drugs. However, he denied that. Tabiso Kuba, Eyewitness News.
And the family of publicist and entrepreneur Maria Mlo says they will remember her for being kind, warm, generous and loving. Her family confirmed that Mlo passed away last night at Mill Park Hospital in Johannesburg following heart failure. Maria was widely known for her work as a DJ, a publicist and fashion designer. She was on the Clement Manyathela Show just last Thursday for the Hangout feature.
I kind of always have made it work, being a journalist and being a publicist, also doing clothes, also DJing, all doing it. And someone said, if you were rich, what would you be doing? Like, what would you want to do if you had all the money in the world? And I said exactly this.
Gold is trading at $4,699.21 an ounce. The rand is at 16.50 to the dollar, 22.32 to the pound, 19.36 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $106.44 a barrel.
In the traffic remains sluggish on the R24 West. This is as you head towards the Kalulis interchange. And look out for faulty traffic lights in Edenvale at the N3 and Moederfontein.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. It's a busy day for the courts in the country with a number of high-profile cases sitting today, including that of suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
We're calling on Joburg to walk the inner city with us. In 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for your contributions on the 702 open line. More so, your tributes, your condolences. If you've just joined us, we spoke earlier on about Maria Mlo, who has passed. The family confirmed this morning that she passed away after heart failure, and it's just heartbreaking because this is someone who literally, as of late yesterday, was just like living life as if nothing is to come, and yet something was to come. And I'm just glad that we had the opportunity last week to give her flowers, to appreciate her contribution. And she's someone who didn't even think she deserved to be appreciated like that. Because when I told her I want you on the hanging out feature, she was like, but why me? People don't care about me. I was like, no, actually people who understand the industry, who understand the kind of contribution you've had, even through that production company you founded back in the late 90s, people will know Black Rage Productions and the successes, even with outrageous records. Your fashion sense and your stuff that you've designed, people know how much of a contribution you've had in various industries. By the way, when she came here last week, she came bearing gifts. She came with a big bag which had all sorts of gifts for the entire team. And I think all of us walked away with something. There were shoes, there were jackets, there was a shawl, many shawls. In fact, I have my own shawl and a t-shirt from her store. Like the whole team walked away with gifts. I mean, it's very rare. I mean, who are the other people who brought us gifts when we've hosted them? I think Robert Marawa, David Klale came with gifts. And who else? So it's very rare that we host people on the Hanging Out feature. They are our guests, but they are the ones that come bearing gifts. But yeah, we appreciate her, and we're glad we had the opportunity to have her bid us farewell on the show. It's 10 minutes after 10 o'clock.
Beyond belief, beyond doctrine, a deeper conversation, exploring spirituality with Vusumzi Nandi on the Clement Manyathela Show.
The Clement Manyathela Show
on 702.
Time for our monthly feature now, exploring spirituality with Vusumzi Nandi. And today we are discussing the clashes that sometimes exist between cultural wedding practices and the law. Vusumzi is the author of Jenny Kwantu, Exploring African Spirituality. It's an incredible book that if you are in maybe your era of seeking, I would say, is going to make a lot of sense to you. You are going to find resonance with it. I've read it and I've loved it. So check it out. He also has a podcast, Jenny Kwantu, which is also just equally brilliant. And we decided to start this monthly feature because you guys loved the conversation I had with him when I had him on the show last year, talking about his book. So on the show today, we'll take you through the topic and how it links to spirituality. And remember, this is exploring spirituality. So nobody really has the answers. What we want to do is introduce conversations that we often just put on the side and we don't focus on, or conversations we think are uncomfortable, but we do sometimes think about them. And that's really the purpose of this platform, is to open conversation that is frank, that is honest, and we just impart knowledge amongst each other. Vusumzi, welcome back to the show. Good morning.
Thank you so much, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So help us frame today's topic, because it's got spirituality in it, it's got cultural practices in it, it's got the law, the legal system in it. So what are we talking about today?
Today we want to focus on what happens when culture and spiritual practices come into conflict with the legal system that we have in the country. Because in many ways, especially in the particular one that we're going to focus on, which comes into weddings and marriages, there's a lot more that is involved other than just a person's spiritual journey, right? There's assets involved, there's children, there's families, there's a lot of legal aspects to it. And a lot of the time, we actually don't think about what happens when culture and spirituality come into conflict with the legal system. And generally, my worry, and the reason why I wanted to speak about this, is that when these conflicts happen, generally, it would be the law that takes precedent. And what happens afterwards is that whatever that was being dealt with within cultural practice almost feels like it loses its sacredness. And it lies in a kind of a limbo. It's like, okay, the law has decided this. So now that sort of fades away. And it leaves us in our practices in this abyss as to now we don't know what to do with this particular thing.
Yeah.
And as a result, it starts to erode.
Yeah.
Right. And then we find ourselves in a situation where our practices are now void of cultural meaning and cultural significance.
Isn't the problem for that the fact that even when we do like even customary marriages, I feel like we focus so much on the event itself and not so much the practices and the expectations that come with that sacred customary marriage. So the focus is, just pay lobola, we take pictures, we have a lunch, we're out. Which is then when disputes come, you don't think of what is the expectation of that process we had. You think Western.
Yes.
So how do we, help us understand then what are the systems and the practices that are in place within the customary marriage system that would allow us to resolve the disputes even before it gets to the legal system.
Okay. I think what's going to be nice about our conversation today is that I'm going to propose a solution.
Yeah.
I have a solution that I believe can solve a lot of these issues, not just legally, but culturally and spiritually as well. But to start off with, I want to focus on the case that a lot of us are familiar with, that was between Lerato Senadi and HP. It made headlines after Jabba passed away, and there was a lot of confusion about what exactly the issue was, right? And I just want to use that as an example. So in that case, the issue was that Lerato, Jabba's family did not want her to access his estate because they said that they did not recognize her as a wife, right? So there's two sides to the story. So in her defense, according to the court case, she was saying that on a particular day, the family met and there was a negotiation that happened. And after that, there was a celebration of the negotiations. A certain amount was put down according to the agreement that they had. And the family, she was then introduced to the family. And his family then also gave her a wedding outfit as a gift, a wedding dress as a gift, in which they dressed her, like how they would do, Makoti would then be dressed by the man's family. And it turned to be a celebration because then Jabba had his also matching outfit and things like that. So in her understanding, then that was the official, what we call the traditional wedding. So now, in his family, their argument was that, number one, there was an amount that they put down, but they never finished, right? So the lobola was never fully contributed. It was never finalized. And secondly, she was never officially handed over to his family, what they call hochorosa, which means that there's a particular in Siswati, I think they call it ukumekeza, where then the woman's family take her to his family's home and they officially hand her over as now their daughter, whereby she officially leaves her family in terms of that practice. She's then embraced by the family. So his family was saying that handover never happened, and to them that is what signifies the completion of the practice, or the thing that completes a customary marriage according to their cultural practice.
Yeah.
Right. So then in that whole situation, then she approached the court to say, she believes that she's a customary wife because she presented her evidence that there was negotiation, we met, there was a celebration, there was dressing of outfits, and according to her understanding and her family's understanding of culture. So then what the court then said is that according to precedent and according to, evidence that was given to them, legally, what was decided was that lobola does not need to be a part of the constitution and to constitute a traditional, a customary marriage, right? You don't need lobola to be finalized. You don't actually need it to even be paid. You could put down 5 bob, and that hohorosiwa is not a compulsory part of the finalizing of a customary marriage. So that was now what the court decided, right? And now I wanted to now focus on the cultural aspect of this, right? And the spiritual aspect of this. So in that, which was an amazing victory for her, and I think it was an important moment in the equalizing of rights, especially gender rights within our country, right? To say that women do have a say in these things. So in saying that hohorosiwa is not a part of this, and just just the meeting of the family and agreeing on an amount in saying that and writing the minute, that constitutes as a customary. So outside of that, then that means things like inyongo is no longer legally necessary to be part of what is recognized as a customary marriage, right? Which in many ways, from our understanding, how we were raised, we were told that is actually the most critical part of a customary wedding, that you need, a woman needs to hohorosiwa, she needs to be handed over, and there needs to be inyongo involved in most cultures, right? And now, because the judgment has been passed down in that, it leaves that thing out in the open. It leaves those rituals, those practices in limbo to say, now a person can choose not to. It opens up, a lot of, you can cheat the system now, because you cannot finish your mahadi, your lobola, and still be married. You can skip all these other rituals that traditionally you're supposed to do, but the law still recognizes, So you can be in conflict with your family, but legally there's no conflict, And for me, I feel like this is where culture needs to step up and have some kind of an upgrade. Our cultures need an upgrade. We need some way of upgrading the way that we function culturally so that these things stay relevant. And because if we keep having to be led by the law, with each case, culture is going to lose. And with each case, culture is going to be eroded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So ultimately, how does that then affect us, this clash that exists? How is it of impact to us?
The impact is significant in the sense that we then lack a strong foundational identity for the marriage, because then the marriage only becomes about paperwork. It only becomes about legalities. The marriage, the family, the community then lacks a cultural identity to say we are these people who do these things. We are these people who perceive ourselves in this particular way. We carry ourselves in this particular way because at any moment a legal case can be brought and then that goes away. You know what I mean? It breaks down what we believe is the cultural hierarchy of a family. And hierarchy not in the sense of importance, but in the sense of the structure, And as a result, when we raise our kids, our children are raised with no sense of identity because we believe that, or rather we are subject to the idea that anything can change when the law comes in. So my belief is that we need to update our cultural practices in such a way that they lead the legal system to say it's culture that dictates how the law functions within our cultures.
But then there's so many cultures though.
Exactly.
And the thing with the law is that it's uniform.
Yes.
So it's applicable to all of us, whether Motswana or Mopedi. So then doesn't that, if culture is what leads, doesn't that then complicate it when we get to the law? Because it's not uniform. We do things differently.
Yes, okay. This is a beautiful point that you're bringing across, especially for us here in Gauteng, because a lot of marriages, a lot of unions are cross-cultural. You know, you have Zulus marrying Xhosas, Batswana marrying Bapedi. You know, there's a lot of cross-referencing in terms of cultures, and that is also part of what the arguments may be, because in the instance of you know, Oslerato and Ochaba, the issue was a different understanding of interpretation of what a customary marriage is. People they didn't realize up until that point that they had actually different understandings of what a customary marriage actually is, right? So here's a solution that I want to propose. And for me, it is rooted in culture, right? I'll use the Xhosa culture and Batswana to give this example, right? So in Xhosa, when a man wants to get married, this is like back in the days, right? He would approach his father, and they would sit, you know, in the periphery of Ibshante, the kraal, and then he would make his wishes known to his father to say, you know, I've seen a woman and I'm interested. And then the father would ask him about his preparedness, like, you know, insebenzo, like, do you have the cows and all of those things.
Does that conversation have to happen in the kraal? So it can't be in the lounge? Or
this is an official meeting. It needs to happen in the boardroom, okay?
I was like, what?
This is probably one of the most important conversations a man is going to have with his father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it needs to happen in an auspicious environment, you know what I mean, in the periphery. So, and then the father would ask him about his preparedness. And once that is established, what the father would then do is that he would dispatch abantu called izintlola, who they are like messengers, who would then go to the woman's family to make the man's family's wishes known, you know, to set the date and things like that. Zintlola, I think I want to emphasize that word zintlola in relation to Xhola. You know, it's important. Let's park that. We're going to come back to that word. And then what would happen is that they would arrive and make the wishes of the man's family known, and then they would set a date. On that set date, the man's family would send a delegation, and they're called onozakuzaku. I love that word, which is basically an auspicious delegation. They would call them abakongi, right? To the woman's family, and then when they get there amongst themselves, they would then elect isiteti sekaya, which is basically a spokesperson who would then mediate between the two families, right? That is within the Xhosa tradition. But I also have to say, there's a huge disclaimer, as you said, it varies. So it's not exact in every single instance. There's always variations, right? And then you have Batswana, right? And then in the Tswana tradition, in the olden days, most Batswana marriages were arranged, right? But even if it wasn't, the normal process would be that the man actually tells his mother that I've seen a person and this, and then the mother meets with the woman's mother.
Before he even tells the woman?
No, because it's arranged. But you know, let's for argument's say that the woman knows. He would then tell his mother, and then his mother would then go and speak to the girl's mother to establish that first meeting, that first connection. You know, and then what would happen is that the man's family would then send what they call Bomaditsela or Maditsela, who would be then the delegation, pathfinders, wayfinders, you know. And the Tswana, the process of seeking a wife is called patlo, like khubatla, you know. And patlo is the root word for patlisiso, patlisiso being kind of an investigation, you know, to dig deeper, right? So with these two examples, I want to come back to how we conduct our practices.
Yeah, just 1 second. I want to take a quick ad break, and then when we come back, you'll then take us into your solutions now that you've laid these two foundations.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings.
8 to midnight.
Public protector coming out and saying if you insult the public protector's office, the public protector and the deputy, you're liable to face a 40,000 rand fine and perhaps even some jail time. Somebody's going to say, hey, this is in Saudi Arabia. If you look at the attacks on public protector's office during Thuli Madonsela's time, I'm not talking about Brazil back. Well, there was nothing there. Nobody even knew that there was a public protector. It does feel a little strange. It just feels un-South African.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Africa's Travel Indaba is happening from the 12th to the 14th of May at the Durban Exhibition Centre. Look out for the Resurgence Conference Durban Activation and learn about the July conference, which is focused on unlocking investment and connecting businesses to opportunities. Hosted in partnership with USA partners, Resurgence is where innovation, tourism and growth meet. Visit stand DEC1H41. That's DEC1H41. This message is brought to you by eThekwini Municipality.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours, and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi. It's Joburg. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this walk.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babise bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
Exactly 10:30, time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. The state has requested 6 weeks to investigate financial statements in the multi-million rand tender fraud case linked to alleged underworld kingpin Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. Suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula made his first appearance alongside Matlala today for their cases to be joined as one. Masimula faces a charge of violation of the Public Finance Management Act in connection with the awarding of the tender to Matlala's company. The pair were joined by other police officers implicated in the case. The prosecutor says the case has been postponed to the 26th of June. As the country marks 365 days of no load shedding this week, Electricity Minister Ramaphosa says this is an important milestone in reflecting on the path the country has travelled towards a stable power supply. Delivering the department's budget in Parliament, Ramaphosa pledged that by March next year, all provinces will also have overcome load reduction owing to demand outstripping municipal supply as well as infrastructure constraints. And Iran's chief negotiator says the United States must accept Tehran's latest peace plan or face failure after U.S. President Donald Trump warned the truce in the Middle East war was on the brink of collapse. The war, which erupted more than 2 months ago with U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran, has spread throughout the Middle East and roiled the global economy. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Paulshof, there's been an accident on the N1 North just before Rivonia Road, and it is causing traffic if you're coming from Main Road. Over in Eden Vale, there's still some slow-moving traffic on the R24 West. This is as you get closer to the Gululis interchange, and it is due to road works. Look out for faulty traffic lights in Woodmead at Woodmead and Woodlands, in Kyalami at the R55 in Kenilworth, and in the capital city as well. Traffic lights are out in Monument Park at the R21 and Solomon Mahlangu Drive. If you come across any other traffic on your side, you're more than welcome to send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What concrete turnaround targets are being put in place?
The liquor licensing process itself is fraught with all kinds of issues, both in terms of the speed, but also the procedural inconsistencies in the licensing and renewal processes. And on the other side, you have outlets that should not have been approved for a liquor license because perhaps maybe they are located in close proximity to some other institution, and yet these places have licenses. There has to be a thorough review of that process.
Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Some of you really said New Year, New Me and joined those running clubs, and it looked cute for the gram, but in reality, it just wasn't working out, right? But now those techies are just there. No mileage, just vibes. It's time to donate them to the street store and let someone else put them to work, because letting go looks good on you. Donate to the street store before the 22nd of May. Visit thestreetstore.org for more.
It's 6 a.m. in Kenya. Victor's little sister starts high school today, but her fees need to be paid first. Back in Jersey, Victor logs onto the Absa banking app and sends her money and a little extra for lunch. It arrives instantly.
Your money makes their world go round. Send cash to 18 countries across the world with Absa Global Pay. It's safe, instant, and affordable. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Behind every powered city, it is an operation making it possible. This Friday, this show will be live from Matla Coal Mine in Kriel in Mpumalanga for the official opening of Exaro's Mine 1 expansion project. Find out how a 5.2 billion rand investment, a new long-term coal supply agreement with Eskom, and a major mining expansion are helping secure South Africa's energy future for decades to come. This Friday on 702.
Beyond belief, beyond doctrine, a deeper conversation, exploring spirituality with Vusumzi Nandi on the Clement Manyathela Show.
The Clement Manyathela Show
On 702.
25 minutes before 11 o'clock, we're having a conversation on our monthly feature, Exploring Spirituality with Vusumzi Nandi, about the clashes that sometimes exist between, the cultural wedding practices and the law. And Vusumzi, you laid a foundation earlier using Botswana and Amaxhosa and how they go about, they used to back in the day go about their customary marriages and what the process is. And then you were just about to get to now the solution that you think then helps us avoid this kind of clash we often see.
Yeah. So the example that I said, I wanted us to focus on this process of patlo, kasetswana, which is to seek, and the fact that there's messages that are sent to make these announcements, to make these declarations, to especially from the man's family to the woman's family, right? So I want to contrast it now with how we do things now. The ones that I showed are more elaborate. There's a lot more steps, whereas with us there's fewer steps, right? So today, 2026, if you want to get married, you do two things. Your family, as a man, your family sends a letter to the woman, and there's a date. There is a date that is agreed upon, and on that date, you send your delegation there, and then negotiations start. My issue is that that's where the problem comes in, right? From the announcement of the date or the sending of the letter, and then the negotiation starting is too much. There's too much of a gap in that thing, because by the time the negotiations start, should there be issues that can't be resolved on that day? Should you find out things that are unsavory or shocking or things that are not compatible with you and your family on that day, it's very difficult to then backtrack from that in a way that it doesn't spell disaster for the union itself, right? So earlier I was speaking about how in Xhosa they would send is in Tlola, right? Uklola, which is to investigate, to dig deeper. And Kasetswana, to look for a woman, is called patlo, patlisiso, right? So I believe that this is where, in between step 1 and step 2, this is where this process actually comes in, right? Here's an example. So Clement, you want to get married, right? What would happen in this instance is that after you have sent the letter, after the letter has been received, It's like, okay, we will be receiving you on this particular day. There's another meeting that needs to happen, right? And this meeting is more of it's not a discussion, it's not a negotiation. This is a fact-finding mission. You send a group of people, it could be one, it could be two, it could be three, preferably three, right? And then they would go to your partner's family and sit them down and ask them a series of questions. And your partner also does the same. She sends the same delegation to your family with more or less the same questions that they're going to ask, right? And the questions start from basic things like basic lineage information. What is your clan name? What is, that basic structural information about where you're from and all of those things. Because in some instances, you find that thing of you have cousins, who are now getting married because they were not actually sure. They didn't know that they're actually related in terms of clans, and because, Abobuteles are actually cousins of that family and all of those things, right? And then we get into like the more complicated questions, like what is your family's view on ukuvela, khotlaga? As in, is your family expecting the full amount to be paid or not? Does your family consider partial payment as enough for this union to be called a customary marriage? Or do you want everything to be done in full? If you want everything to be done in full and it only happens partially, they say we can only maybe give this amount because of economic factors. What does that mean for you as the woman's family? If I come to your family and you want 60,000 and I only give 30,000, what does it mean? What are the restrictions that you are going to impose on me as the man, or on us as a couple? Are there such things, right? And then there's going to be questions around going back to this case of Oslerato and Jaba, to say that, is the family aware that even if I don't finish paying, according to the law, we are actually legally married? Is the family aware of that? That we can still say that things are certain amounts are outstanding, certain processes have not yet happened, but legally, is the family aware that we are now actually married after that negotiation process? Because that has implications as in this case where someone passes away, because customary marriage is automatically in community of property. There's implications to those things. So we need to establish that the family is actually aware of that. And then you also need to establish, especially as I was saying with us in Gauteng, cultural practices, as in what is your family's actual processes of getting married? What do you actually do in your what are your wedding processes? What do you do as a family? What are the things, what are the rituals that you observe? What are the different ceremonies that are going to take place? And most especially, what is going to be your expectation of us in this process? What is it that, as the man's family or as the woman's family, what is it that you're going to expect us to do in this thing? Because a lot of the time there's confusion as to, no, this is going to happen, and people are finding out things as things are happening.
True.
And then that's where the conflicts are like, no, we are not prepared to do that and to do this, And then one of the most important things, which now comes back to spirituality, is, are there any outstanding processes that this person, your daughter, your son, needs to have observed before this union goes forward, right? Now we're talking about surnames. Is this person using the right surname? Yes or no? If they are not, what is the remedy that is going to happen? Because if there's disputes or clashes around the surname, the wedding cannot go on. Are there any kinds of cleansings that still need to happen for this person before they enter a union with someone else? Because some cleansings are critical, because you might find that the person is carrying senyama, as it were, for something that happened in the family, to say this person still needs to go through this. Maybe they lost a mother, a father, or something, because some of these energies can carry into a marriage and then overshadow such things, right? And then Another thing which is a bit trickier, which is something that we're facing in my family, is that have the parents of this person done their job in terms of finalizing their stuff? Is the mother and the father fully married, or are there still issues of outstanding payments? Because what is happening in my family is that I have a relative who wants to get married, but they're saying that you can't get married because your father didn't finish marrying your mother.
Yeah.
So we need to first get to that part, and that is actually causing a blockage in the wedding process.
So here's my concern. That feels like a lot of work.
It is.
But then I also appreciate that if you don't go through that work, you are going to be stuck with challenges.
Yes.
Likelihood is that.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking now, because then that means there's a lot, because our families have not dealt with everything else. It's forcing uncomfortable conversations.
Very
the
much
issue
so.
of surnames.
Yes.
Now you have to sit and say, okay, and you thought, because there are people who have postponed that issue, they've put it on the side because maybe they don't have the capacity to deal with it. Now it's like, before you get married, there's a lot that you need to get right. And
yes,
it just feels like too much.
It's a lot. And here's the thing. I know for a fact that what I'm proposing will lead to less marriages.
It definitely will.
Less people who are going to get married.
Because why? Right? Why would we want to go through that process?
But I believe that when we do this, we're actually building a stronger foundation because we have less to deal with.
Yes.
Because I believe that a lot of the reasons why we have high divorce rates is because we have skipped all of these things. All of these things are were uncertain. You know what I mean? And another one that I believe causes a lot of issues, especially when it comes to gender equality, is that you must ask the family, what is your expectation of Magwenya? What are the actual duties that you expect our child to perform in your family, over the entire time, not just in the brief marriage or wedding process, but afterwards, right? And here's where I believe then culture can then dictate to the legal system. Because then we can make this is like now a report, right? Once this this information has been found out, then the family has to sign to say, okay, this is the information that you have supplied us, and according to you, all of this is true to the best of your knowledge. Because then that can become a legally binding document to say when we have disputes later. When the man's family wants to say, no, you're not married, you can say, no, we discussed this. You detailed what you define as a marriage.
Or he's failing in his obligations.
Yes.
Then you go back and say, but you agreed that you're going to provide for the family.
And then the interesting part is that now that the report is done, your delegation comes back to your family, right? This is the interesting part. Now, you as a family now go through the report. And I promise you're going to find things out about your partner's family that they probably didn't know that is a thing. Now we're looking for red flags. We're looking for deal breakers to say, are we actually compatible as a family, and are we willing to live with these particular realities that may or may not have an impact on us as we're going forward?
Yeah. That's so fascinating, and I get it. I think a lot of people will not marry through that process, but a lot of people who marry through that process are going to have a good foundation, a solid foundation in their marriages. Because just naturally we avoid uncomfortable things.
Yes.
We avoid dealing with, now your dad who is 70 must think, now because my surname is not even correct.
Yes.
Which then is going to affect
this. But then when he does that, he actually solves the spiritual issues that the family has been facing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not just logistics.
Okay. I've got some listeners joining the conversation on WhatsApp. Some questions coming through on 011-883-0702 as well. We'll start with those after the break. It's 14 before 11.
702 Drive with John Perlman.
On our show, we cover the news, but we try to do it in a slightly different way. If there's breaking news, we give you the facts, but we're always looking for somebody who can explain to us why something is happening, and we apply that thinking to everything we do. That, yes, you want to know the what, but crucially, you want to know the why, and most important of all, you want to know how it might be fixed. The wonderful thing is we don't have one kind of listener who listens listens to our show. I think the kind of listeners we have are people who want to be heard, but they definitely listen very, very carefully. Once they've made up their mind, they come in very, very quickly, very sharp, very focused. And if they're not happy with the answer, you're going to find out very, very soon. And it's great because it keeps us interested and it keeps us on our toes. We're putting the show together, but thank goodness the listeners are keeping us accountable, and that's good for everyone.
702 Drive with John Perlman, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
For many South Africans living with blood cancer or blood disorders, a stem cell donor is their only hope for a second chance at life. Right now, someone is waiting for a match. This World Blood Cancer Month, be the reason they get another moment, a birthday, and a chance at a full life. Visit dkmsafrica.org and register to become a stem cell donor today.
Beyond belief, beyond doctrine, a deeper conversation. Exploring spirituality with Vusumzi Nandi on the Clement Manyathela Show.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
On 702.
Oh, yeah, it is a deeper conversation. Vusumzi Nandi has given us a lot to think about. And I've got so many questions coming from you. So let's start here. Vusumzi. One person says, hey, please can you ask your guest, a divorced woman still using her ex-husband's surname, yeah, but intends on getting married again. Like, what's the cultural code there? Because that's a family conundrum that they are dealing with. They've been divorced for 10 years, but she still uses the ex's surname, and she's about to get married.
So here's the thing. The reality of that situation is that when she gets married, should the new partner wants to marry her, he has to go pay lobola to the ex's family.
What?
Yes. Because she still belongs to them. If she's still using their surname. Because you have to understand there's a difference between paperwork and culture and spirituality. She's still in spiritual union with that family. She still belongs to them. So the man has to go to the woman's ex's family and pay them lobola for her to change her surname. If she hasn't changed it by then. Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a Mandela, I'm not paying lobola. If you're a Mandela, it's fine. I'll pay that lobola to the Mandela family just to keep that surname. Yeah. Okay, let's go to some WhatsApps now on 072 702 and 702.
Hey, good morning, Clement. I strongly believe that these things, they work when people believe in them. It's a story of belief and not of things. So when you believe that if you don't do 1, 2, 3 and so on, things are not going to go well, then things won't go well. Because there are many people that have done things the perfect way and they still went on to divorce, you know. And so the future is only known to God. Thank you, Clement.
Good morning, Clement and fellow listeners. My goodness, today we are touching on a very important topic that is affecting many, many lives because people, they love shortcuts. People, they like hiding behind some papers they are getting from Home Affairs. That is a British and a Dutch law. And the bottom line is that spirituality and our cultures will always be above the laws. If full lobola has not been paid and the cow has not been slaughtered and you have not been released from your family with a cow and a goat and the groom's family accepts you with also slaughtering of a cow and a goat, there's no marriage there. There's just nothing. You are just playing house. Even if you can go to Home Affairs and sign, that is not a marriage. It's just you guys. You're just playing house. You know, people must just pay full lobola and buy the necessary gifts.
Yo, the gifts. Imagine Onyala Muzulu. Yo, those gifts. Have you seen at a Zulu wedding? Like the gifts they bring out. I'm like, they've probably spent like 100K in jail just on the blankets and. But even Amandebele, my mom is in Ndebele. Like they buy a lot of jam. You need jam. Jam is jam in English, yeah. Jam, and they will have to buy lots of jams and blankets. So. Yeah, this gifting thing also costs a lot of money. Bennett, you are in Sprayed View. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Hey, Clement.
Hey, Tada, go ahead.
Sure. Clement, I'm not going to talk so that other previous WhatsApp, it's spot on. It was right? Just to be short, nahaka if waka unyala ngwanaka haka ile mokete o le haka ha re tshele nyoko rona wa bona so it happens ha re tshele nyoko so ha re batle motho a tle a re tsekisa re lwantshe a re botsa spirituality because ha re tshele nyoko rona a respect fela o mona ha re tshele nyoko ha nkile ngwanaka ile mosadi wa hae ha fihla ha hae habo ba ka tshela nyoko bona habo wa bona so batho ba ska ba impose let's not impose ditho tse re dinkang somewhere mona respect fela kubane ka Sesotho o kupile nkgo ya metsi meaning that o kupile re build a relationship but hata kana be teng even if re lateletse all protocols mathata but my point go re ha re respecting malapa ha tshwane.
True, Bennett, that's an important point you're raising. And for Sumzi, would that be the solution to say, sure, the issue of Inyongo, you can do it when the ceremony is taking place at your family. Yes. But when you guys come this side, the fact that that's your belief must not imposed on what we believe.
And this is why this meeting, the second part after the letter, I believe that is important, that we need to know this information. Not during the negotiations. Yes, we need to know that beforehand. You know, so what that is raising. Yes, what he is raising. You know, is this is how their family. As I said, you know, when this meeting starts, you ask Lebo Mang, how do you conduct these things, so we can know if there's going to be clashes, because there can be some people who say he could easily say that. We don't use nyoko even whether in my house or anywhere with my child. How not nyoko at all. And these are things that the family of the man needs to know beforehand, you know, because there are some people who are going to say, who are far more deeply cultural and spiritual in these things, for whom this could be a deal breaker. And this is not about imposing. Right. The solution that I'm suggesting is that people need to find out information before these things get on the way.
Yandisa on WhatsApp line says, "Hi Clement, how does all of this accommodate same-sex marriage, or does it even accommodate it? This solution?"
You know, I feel like it helps it in ways that right now we don't have the help, because if you have sex partners, you know, when there's a delegation that is sent to the family, there can be then that discussion, because we are assuming that these two families are experiencing their child in the same way, or that they're having the same relationship with their child, right? Be it, you know, two women in whatever case. They have to go to that family and do this investigation to understand, how are you dealing with a child who has a same-sex partner? How do you as a family view them? Yes, what are the expectations? Yes, because, you know, there could be there's masculine presenting person on the one hand and feminine presenting on the other hand, and the families need to then decide, or have at least that information to go back with, like, no, their child, you know, is this particular presenting. This is how they understand their sexuality, or, you know, their way of being.
Doesn't the guidance come more though from the children themselves?
Yes.
Because otherwise the parents end up making assumptions.
That's why it needs a comprehensive discussion before we get to the negotiations. Yeah. So that when the two parties meet, then all of those things have been taken care of.
Gotcha.
Now we're just talking about two people.
All right. Kagiso, you are in Pretoria. Good morning.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Sure, man. What's your question?
Sorry, I'm just curious about something. I have a friend, or a couple friend. They've been together for the longest time, and they have 3 kids together. And the guy wants to legitimize the relationship and get married, but the problem is that in his culture, he's not allowed to get married unless the older brother has been married. And the older brother doesn't want to get married, it seems, because he's like, so the problem is that he's been wanting to do it for years, but then the brother has been like dating and being on and off in his relationships for years as well.
Okay.
And there's no sign of him trying to get married.
Sure.
So and he's stuck now.
Okay, Kagiso, that's an interesting question. Listen on the radio. It's interesting for Sumzi because I remember when my brother got married, who's younger than me, 2 years younger.
Yeah.
And I think in my culture, there was a conversation that, but how can he get married before me?
It's offensive.
And yes, so the option that they had, I heard, was they were going to marry some random woman for me that I don't know, who's chosen by my mother and my family. And my mom was like, no, don't worry. All you have to do is when you come home, you respect this person and they're part of the family. When you're in Joburg, you can be in Joburg.
So you're fully married.
But but that didn't happen, of course. I mean, but I'm saying it depends from culture to culture. In my culture, from what I heard, that was the option that they considered. And it shocked me because I'm going to get home to a stranger that is now my wife.
Yes.
But that's what's actually considered in other cultures.
Yeah. So I think that shows then the importance of having this comprehensive discussion before. So the family also comes clean themselves, not just to the delegate, but to their own family, to their kids. Like, okay, this is actually what we do.
Yeah.
Because if it happens once in the family and all of these things come out, now all the kids know, like, okay, this is what we do in our family, and you would have found that out that this is what was supposed to happen for you, instead of hearing it during when it's already happening.
Yeah, true. Fusumzi, thank you so much. This has been so informative. We always don't have enough time.
Right.
Looking forward to our next conversation next month.
Thank you so much.
So that is Vusumzi Mwande, who is the author of Journey Kwantu, Exploring African Spirituality and Identity.
Mzansi, the excitement is building. The 130th running of the Hollywood Bets Durban July takes place on Saturday, 4 July. This year's theme, Country Allure, draws from the richness of our land, a celebration of heritage, freedom and style, inspired by our beautiful countryside. It's more than a race. It's where champions are made, stories are written, and greatness is unleashed. World-class horse racing, bold fashion, music, culture, and a day of endless excitement at Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse. Get your tickets now at Ticket Pro and release your glamour at the Hollywood Bets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event. It's another girl!
Families multiply, fees shouldn't. With Ultimate Banking, you get support for every chapter. Get discounted banking for your spouse and give each of your children a head start with a Mega U account. Because as your family grows, your banking should keep up. Apply online. Your story matters. ABSA. Terms and conditions apply. ABSA is an authorized financial services provider.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The state has requested 6 weeks to investigate financial statements in the multi-million rand tender fraud case linked to the alleged underworld kingpin Vusumuzi Matlala. Matlala appeared alongside suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masimula in the Pretoria Magistrates Court this morning. Masimula faces a charge of violating the Public Finance Management Act in connection with the awarding of the tender to Matlala's company. Prosecutor Santos Menalal says the matter has been postponed to 26 June for more investigations.
Your Worship, regarding the consultations with accused number 1, the state can confirm that those consultations were concluded. However, as a result of the new information emanating from those consultations, it requires and necessitates verification of the information and further investigation.
On the ISRAND, the case against suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and Ekurhuleni City Manager Kagiso Lerutla has been postponed to next month. The pair made a brief appearance in the Boksburg Magistrates Court on charges of fraud, corruption and defeating the ends of justice. They were arrested last month for allegedly colluding to have someone impersonate Lerutla in court following a car speeding arrest. They are currently out on 30,000 Rand bail each. Lerutla's lawyer, Alfie Masinya, says they are yet to have sight of the dockets.
We passed the first difficult bridge of getting bail. We know the nature of the charges that we're going to face. Now we're going to bridge number 3, the stage number 3, trial.
As the country marks 365 days of no load shedding this week, Electricity Minister Hosiense Ramaphosa says this is important in reflecting on the path the country has travelled towards a stable power supply. Delivering the department's budget in Parliament, Ramaphosa pledged that by March next year, all provinces will also have overcome load reduction. He says as the country works on diversifying its energy supply, nuclear energy will be pursued with greater vigour.
The department will advance the nuclear program with prudence and discipline. This includes the nuclear industrialization plan, the implementation of 5,200 megawatt nuclear build program, the nuclear fuel cycle strategy to support energy sovereignty, small modular reactor positioning, including the lifting of pebble bed modular reactor out of care maintenance, and as the basis to renew its capability.
He says an integrated national 20-year outlook for the retirement, repowering and repurposing of coal-fired power stations will also be developed.
This work will be undertaken with social partners. It will recognize the legitimate concerns of workers, municipalities, local business and communities. It will also ensure that coal fleet decisions are aligned with system adequacy and affordability.
And Iran's chief negotiator says the United States must accept Tehran's latest peace plan or face failure after U.S. President Donald Trump warned the truce in the Middle East war was on the brink of collapse. The war, which erupted more than 2 months ago with U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran, has spread throughout the Middle East and roiled the global economy despite the ceasefire impacting hundreds of millions worldwide. Both sides have refused to make concessions and repeatedly threatened to resume fighting, but neither appears willing to return to all-out war. Mohammed Baha Khalibaf says there is no alternative but to accept the rights of the Iranian people as laid out in their 14-point proposal, and that any other approach would be completely inconclusive. Gold is trading at $4,699.21 an ounce. The rand is at 16.50 to the dollar, 22.32 to the pound, 19.36 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $106.44 a barrel.
In the traffic, if you're heading towards Butlu Interchange, there's been an accident on the N1 North just before Rivonia Road, and it is causing heavy delays from Main Road. And you can also look out for faulty traffic lights in 4 ways at Winnie Mandela and Monte Casino.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the state has requested 6 weeks to investigate financial statements in the multi-million rand tender fraud case linked to alleged underworld kingpin Vusmuzi Katmatlala.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thanks for staying with us here on 702. It's time for our Listener's Choice feature.
Burning questions.
Insightful answers.
Listener's Choice.
With Clement Manyathela.
Today on our Listener's Choice feature, we are talking about debt review. So we'll give you a debt review 101 and what you need to know as a consumer about debt review. So we obviously want to figure out what it is, who it is for, how it works, because many South Africans are under severe financial pressure due to the rising cost of living. When you look at the high interest rates, we are confronted by the mounting debt. So debt review is then presented as a solution for over-indebted consumers, but there are still many misunderstandings about the process. Like what exactly is debt review? Who qualifies for it? And can it really help consumers regain financial stability? I would like you to call us on 011-883-0702 to share your own experiences with us around debt review. Have you undergone it? What questions do you have? Any clarity seeking questions? You can call us or send a WhatsApp on 072-702-1702. Rudolph Gelden Hayes is a certified financial planner who's going to guide us through this conversation. How are you doing, Rudolph? Good morning.
Clement, well, and you? We're cold here in Cape Town and it's a bit wet, but we're great otherwise.
Ah, great. I'm happy to hear that. It's also a little cold here in Johannesburg, but we've got the sun out. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is debt review and how does that process work?
So debt review is a legal process. It's driven by the National Credit Regulator. They call it the debt relief process. It was introduced by the National Credit Act in 2007. And it's literally to help consumers restructure debt when it becomes unmanageable. And the process is a simple one. You need to put up your hand because it's a voluntary process. So you would apply to a debt counselor and you have to make sure that they're an NCR registered debt counselor. Don't just go to anyone, make sure it's the right people. And then that counselor will assess your finances and they would also make sure that they look at your essential living expenses, right? That's an important one because when they calculate what you can actually put towards these debt repayments in order to make sure that you can pay off your debts, because we'll touch on maybe a couple of misunderstandings or myths that we might have heard about debt review. But that counselor assesses your finances, looks at your essential expenses to make sure that you can remain in a position where you can cover your expenses. And then they would say, okay, well, what's left will then go to your debt repayments. And then they will, on your behalf, go to all your creditors and would renegotiate terms. How long do you still have to pay for? What is the amount that you owe them? They will negotiate your interest rates to reduce them. And then what you do as a consumer, you would make one monthly payment to what we call a payment distribution agency. It's obviously formalized through a court process, so it's not something that we need to do on a whim. It's really important that we think about the process before we put up our hand, and then that agency will then pay all the individual creditors. So it just simplifies your process, and it almost puts somebody in your corner to help you tackle this problem head on.
Mm-hmm. What does it mean then to be declared over-indebted?
It really is doing a very basic math calculation. So it's not a feeling. I know a lot of us feel over-indebted and then we want to put up our hands and go into debt review, but it's simple math. It's your net income after taxes and deductions from your employer, money that hits your bank account, minus whatever is used for essential living expenses, and that gives you an amount. And if that amount is too small to cover your monthly debt installments, not minimum payments necessarily, but interest and capital repayments, then somebody can look at your financial picture and go, listen, you're over-indebted. You actually cannot satisfy all of these credit payments and you need a bit of help. And then they would step in.
Okay. Who should be considering going under debt review?
I think it's consumers who, number one, have got a regular income, because you need that in order to get into debt review, to get out of debt review, because obviously without a salary, like debt review isn't going to be helpful. but it's somebody who's also relying on credit to survive. So your income is just not enough to cover your lifestyle. So you go into debt to actually survive. It's not people are necessarily just feeling like they want a bit more money. They want less debt repayment so they can live a better lifestyle. That's not the kind of people who would do it. But other people, it could be that you're skipping one debt repayment to this personal loan because you rather want to pay your credit card this month. And the next month you skip your credit card, and then so that you can skip your personal loan the next month. That would be people who would, I assume, consider it. But it's not there for a payment holiday. And I think an important caveat here on who should consider is if you're married in community of property, you're not applying alone. If my wife and I are married in community, we're both applying because we've got one communal estate. So you also need to look at that before you decide, hey, I'm going to put up my hand here because it impacts both spouses.
Got you. What are the mistakes that consumers make when trying to manage debt on their own? Because some people think, oh, debt review, too complicated. I can find a way to do this by myself. What are the mistakes that we often make?
Well, we try and take out maybe a single loan on our own, which we actually can't afford. Or we try and ignore the banks and just ignore the SMSs and the phone calls instead of proactively negotiating and trying to find a better deal or a better outcome. And I think we're also, I guess, to an extent thinking, but I've got other assets, right? I can potentially dip into my two-pot savings fund, or I can resign from my employer and get access to my vested pot. And yes, you might be getting some breathing room in the short term, but then you're kicking the can down the road for future problems. So I think this is one of those scenarios where if you feel over-indebted or under severe financial pressure, putting your head in the sand is going to lead to a worse outcome. I would say look at it critically, without emotion, maybe get a professional or a person in your life with financial experience in hand and say, listen, look at my scenario and tell me what's going on and whether I need to go into debt review, because you need to approach it correctly, because it can either be one of the best things for you, or going into voluntary debt review mistakenly could be one of the worst things you can do.
Okay, we're going to take some calls and WhatsApps now. I want to give the listeners an opportunity to ask some questions or share their experiences with us. But before we do, let's touch on those misconceptions. What are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about this debt review process?
I like to think of them as myths and in fact. First myth, debts are written off. Not true. You still owe every single cent that you owed, unless it was a loan that was granted to you that shouldn't have been granted because they didn't do an affordability check and they gave you an interest rate which is illegal, then the courts can get involved there. But for most of us, we will have to pay off every single cent. And the reality is, because now you pay it off over a longer period, you probably pay more interest on it. So your debts aren't written off. Sometimes some of the credit providers might give you a slight discount on the capital if they know they're going to get their money back, but you don't walk away from these debts. You just have a payment plan that will get you out of it systematically. That's myth one. I think another myth is that you are permanently blacklisted, and that's also not true. This process is rehabilitative in nature. So if you go through the process, you pay off your debt, your record is wiped clean, which is a wonderful thing. And then I think the last one is, but debt review and sequestration is the same thing. No, it's not. Sequestration actually means that you surrender your assets. Where important to note, debt review is actually a process that protects your assets, wants to get you through the storm, out the other side, better for it, where sequestration is a very different ballgame.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to some calls now. 011-883-0702. Let's start with WhatsApps.
Morning, Clement. One question that I would like to ask it regarding the debt review. If I'm able to pay my debt, but now I see that no, I'm feeling the pressure. Yes, I'm able to pay. I'm left with something, but it's not much. But I see that no, I need more. I'm feeling the pressure of paying. So is it possible that some can go under the debt review? Yes, I'm able to pay everything, it's fine, but I'm feeling the pressure in terms of the things that are increasing. Like now, the increase of the petrol, the increase of everything. So I see, no, I'm going under pressure now. Can I go there under debt review?
All right, got you. Thank you. Rudolph?
Well, you need to apply for debt review, and then your debt counselor will actually say whether you can or you can't. Because if you're not seen as over indebted, the courts also don't want to go through the process of putting somebody under debt review that shouldn't be there. And if you don't have to go for debt review, I would just recommend that instead of trying to do it with a debt counseling partner, that you try and tackle it yourself, because then you're in control and you can make change. So I would just engage with my creditors and say, hey, what can we do about the interest rate? What can we do about my payment profile? I want to pay you back, but please help me out because we're a little under pressure. I don't want to get to the space where I actually can't afford this anymore. And then sometimes the credit providers want to get their money back, and they're happy to take a little bit of a haircut, as we call it, where they get slightly less interest payments, but they get the capital back, which is a big deal for them. So don't just put up your hand if you don't need to, if you're not over indebted as per how the debt counselors look at it, and just be proactive and look at your own budget, look at your own financial management, see what you have to spend money on, where you can cut back, and make it a priority to get your debts paid out. And Google the following: debt snowball technique. Just Google that, research it, and see how you can utilize that approach of using a debt snowball in order to get a little bit of momentum behind you to get out of your debt.
Yeah. Here's another one.
Clem, please ask the debt counsellor, why is levies, when a person's living in a gated estate or in a townhouse complex or in a homeowners association, it is never forms part of the debt review, and hence the person gets placed under debt review, and the levies can never be collected and no assets can be touched by the said estate or sectional title or homeowners association. Thank you.
Thanks. Rudolph?
The Glow is a fantastic question. As a financial planner, I'm not a debt counselor. I've got no clue. That's the first time I'm hearing about this. So I think you would definitely have to do a bit of research. But there's an interesting one. Maybe that forms part of that essential living expenses element. So they're wanting you to actually look at your budget and then continue paying it. Now, then an individual under debt review might say, well, I'm not going to pay it, I can't afford it, and then it's not part of the legal repayment because it's not a debt. But in reality, I've got no idea.
Yeah. Okay. James in Johannesburg. Good morning.
Thanks so much for taking my call, man.
Sure.
There is this company that you agreed that I'll be paying around 20. Okay, I have been paying for my bank 2024. I think it was 24, if I'm not mistaken. But now this company, we agreed that I'll be paying 18,000, 18 point something. So yes, we did so for 2 months. But now they just phoned me yesterday to say now I have to add another 1 point something. The bank is complaining that I must pay more. That is the first point. The second point now, I'm having 2 cars from that I've got from the car dealership. Now I can't get another car because I want another car because of this debt review. So I don't know what is the problem. So I just need help from.
Okay. Now let's see if James is able to clarify that. Sorry, Rudolph is able to clarify that. Thanks, James, for your call. Rudolph?
So if you're under debt review and you want to get a new car and you want to finance it, that's seen as debt, and you can't take up new debt in this space. If you're not under debt review, then I'm not sure exactly why that is. But I jotted down a couple of practical next steps that I think how we can avoid ourselves falling deep into debt to get out of debt review quicker or to potentially avoid debt review. And it's not always an easy one. It's easy to say. It's very hard to do. But we need to potentially just downgrade our lifestyle in the season where we're under pressure in order to put ourselves into a position in the future where question to ask is, do you need that new vehicle? Do you need two vehicles? Are you able as a family to come around with one vehicle for a short season of time in order to put your best foot forward and get out of it? Are you able to sell the more expensive car that's being financed, repay that loan, get out of debt quicker if there's extra capital left from the vehicle sale, that you then get a cheap car that works but that's not on debt to free up some cash flow? Those are kind of things, the hard calls we need to make. But if you want a different outcome in the future, we sometimes need to make it, even though it's sometimes very uncomfortable.
Yeah. And the first issue he raised was that the agreement was I pay 18,000 Rand and the company has come back to say you have to add another 1,000 Rand. I mean, he didn't share, the circumstances towards that, but is a request like that normal?
It could be. It could be that the bank didn't give all the data through, but I think if you ever are being approached directly by one of the creditors while you're under debt review, you should not engage with them. You need to go back to your debt counselor, because they are the ones that's helping on your behalf dealing with these creditors. So sometimes I also think some of the credit providers are just taking a chance. They know what they're doing is illegal, but they just want to scare people into doing what they need to do. But on the flip side, I'm not saying this caller hasn't done it, but if you miss out on payments and you fall behind and you're not making all the payments in time, all that's happening is your interest is building up. So now you owe a bigger amount. So then the banks will go, hold on, you need to pay us more now because you've fallen behind and this is not part of our agreement.
Yeah.
But again, we need a bit more data there.
True. Thank you. Sipiwe, you're calling from Durban. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Clement. Debt review, while it's a good process to rescue someone that is in trouble, I just want to comment, I'm not sure if someone has picked up on this. There are some unscrupulous so-called debt review companies. I was in a situation where my wife and I were really struggling, and my bond was at risk mainly. So these guys phoned me and they said, yeah, no, you will pay less than half of what you are paying. We'll negotiate everything with the bank and everything. So we did that. 6 months down the line, Clement, I'm not lying, I got a letter from the bank saying if we do not make payment, circle the whole thing in 2 weeks' time, my house will be taken. And I said, but guys, I am paying money which supposedly is being distributed to my various accounts, including my NetBank bond account. And they said, we know nothing of that. No one negotiated anything about us. So I had to actually leave those guys and go back and negotiate directly with the bank. It was extremely hard. I'm just saying, just a word of caution, while it's a good idea, but yeah, you do get those that are very quick to put something that looks very sweet in your eyes, and man, I can actually pay less than half of what I'm paying.
Okay.
What a saving.
Oh, thank you, Sipiwe in Durban, for calling to share that experience with us, to also warn the listeners. Truly appreciate it. Rudolph, it's important then for consumers out there to be careful of which debt review company they even work with. Just check if it's legit.
Absolutely. They must be registered with a national credit sort of regulator. You have to make sure that you also then make use of that payment distribution agency that they're accredited. You shouldn't be paying the debt counselor directly for your debt, maybe for the fees that you owe them, but you should be paying it to another provider that's almost independent to the situation, so that they, on your behalf, with that one single payment you now have, to then on-pay it to a little bit to the bond, a little bit to these loans. And you also need to be realistic about this. We need to avoid those unrealistic promises, because in a time of stress, you are easily taken advantage of, and people will promise you things like, yeah, we'll cut your installments by 50% and there won't be penalties. The same is true for any professional. If you're looking for a good quality doctor, you need to make sure they've got a medical degree. If you're looking for a great financial advisor, you need to make sure that they're a certified financial planner professional. It just gives you the peace of mind that you're dealing with people that are legitimate.
True. And speaking of legitimacy, Tabo on WhatsApp also says, Clement, I registered for debt review. We agreed to a 9,000 monthly. After 3 months, I found out that my bonds were never paid monthly despite my payments made. Can I even get a refund from the debt counselor to directly pay the service provider? So again, people just need to make sure that you're dealing with the right people legitimately. There's a question we're getting from many of our listeners, Rudolph, around how to get out of debt review. Are you able to just respond to that?
Yes. So getting out of debt review, there's essentially two things that you can consider doing. Number one, you complete debt review. So once you've completed the debt review agreement that you've entered into, your debt review closes out, your flag on your profile is lifted, and then you've been successfully rehabilitated. If you want to leave the program early, again, you can voluntarily opt in. You can't involuntary opt out because you're legally locked into the process. You cannot just cancel it or change your mind because you want a new credit card or you want to buy a new house. You have to go through the process. But you can also then apply to have the process ended early. But again, that's a legal process. You would need to go to court and say, hey, I'm better. Like, I'm in control. I've increased my income. My indebtedness is no longer a reality for me now compared to how much money I've got left at the end of the month. Would you allow me in a court order to step out of debt review? And then the court say yes or no. But more often than not, that 3 to 5 year process, normally at about 60 months, go through the process, you get rehabilitated, and then you end the program, and all your flags are lifted, and then you can go into the process of acquiring new debts. Hopefully you don't, but then, I mean, obviously, life also happens.
Yeah, true. Here's another voice.
Good morning, Clement and 702 listeners. Could you please ask your debt review if one has been scammed into the program by these death counselors who call you and you get into that and you realize that the money that you guys have negotiated to pay back the debts that you have, you can't afford it, then they terminate that. And you want to then do arrangement with your banks, but your name is still flagged in under the debt counselor that is no longer helping you. How do you go about that? Please assist. It's Max Hanijo.
Good morning, Clement. I would also like to get a clarity-seeking question on the issues of debt review, because what I have noted that although it is a system that has been put in place to assist, but when you go through that process on your profile, it does not reflect as someone who opted for a voluntary. You just treated like any other person who had some, listing on their profile in terms of the debt review process. Although I know eventually it can be wiped out, but you still have that stigma that is always following you. Thank you, then. Bye.
Thank you. Yeah, Rudolph. The first question was about what happens when you entered into this thing, but you're not agreeing on how much is going to be paid with the debt review company, and then they end up terminating, and then, but we didn't agree on anything, which still, this listener says, affects you then, even with the institution you owe. How do you get out of that?
That's going to be complicated because I think if you mistakenly opted into debt review, because the listener is absolutely right. Sometimes you get called, hey, do you want to get your debt squared away? Like, we can help change your life overnight, which is obviously not true. The reason why people want to help you for debt review is because obviously debt counselors don't do it for free. Now, I'm not saying some debt counselors are amazing and some of them aren't. And that's just a reality in any industry, I guess. Mm-hmm. So if you opted in for it because somebody told you that they'll change your life forever, and then it ends up not happening. Now, it depends on whether that was a formalized agreement into a court order or whether it was just somebody taking you for a ride. Now, if it was opted into a court order and there's this debt counselor, and then they need to help you. But if they're not helping you, I'm not quite sure what your recourse is around that, probably approaching the National Credit Regulator and seeing if you can give a notice or try and find a different credit or counselor to help you. I think that would be the first port of call. But at some point in time, in order to have this process kicked off, that's a legal one, you would have had to sign something. And then it's unfortunate if you signed up for something that you weren't completely aware of what the process means. Then you are quite stuck because you signed the documents. And then I would say, figure out the best way forward. Mm-hmm. See what you can do in order to engage in the process and get through the process as unscathed as you can, and hopefully better for it.
Yeah. Rudolph, Gelden Hayes, we're out of time, but thank you. You've managed to really answer many of the questions from our listeners, which is quite helpful. I appreciate your time. He's a certified financial planner. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Mbali, what do you have for us about Vusumuzi Matlala?
Well, Clement, a very good morning. The state has requested 6 weeks to investigate the financial statements in the multi-million rand tender fraud case linked to alleged underworld kingpin Vusumuzi Matlala. Matlala appeared alongside suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola in the Pretoria Magistrates Court this morning. Masemola faces a charge of violating the Public Finance Management Act in connection with the awarding of the tender to Matlala's company. National Assembly Speaker Togo Didiza has decided to revive the ad hoc committee investigating allegations of police corruption after its time lapsed at the end of April. Didiza's decision follows calls by the committee to get more time to finalize its draft report, which will be tabled before the National Assembly once completed. And the United Nations has demanded independent investigations into reports that airstrikes in northern Nigeria have killed dozens of civilians. It's understood the separate strikes were undertaken by the Nigerian as well as the Chadian armies. According to Amnesty International, the military airstrikes on a crowded market in the northwestern Zamfara state killed at least 100 civilians. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Paul's off, traffic remains sluggish on the N1 South. This is between Winnie Mandela Drive and Rivonia Road. And in Edenvale, there's some traffic pressure on the R24 West going towards the Galulis interchange. And if you're traveling on the N3 South, there's been an accident just after Galulis interchange, and it is causing slow-moving traffic towards Van Buren Road. Look out for faulty traffic lights in Marlborough at Marlborough and Southway, in North Riding at the N1 South and Malibongwe, as well as in Fourways at Winnie Mandela and Monte Casino. Be aware of faulty traffic lights in the capital city, in Pretoria CBD at Lillian Goy and Francis Bard, in Noordwijk at the R55 and Summit, as well as in Anlin at Paul Kruger and Lavender. Karabo Chale is up next with your next traffic update. From me, Khomotso Munyai. We do it again tomorrow. Bye.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
25 before 12, time for the sharing space. This is where we share our stories, our whatever happened at work or an issue you had with your partner, your friend, something that you want clarity on and you want to ask the listeners if they've experienced a similar thing. Or maybe you need advice because you are stuck in a corner. You've got a conundrum and you just want to hear the 702 lenders and how they would advise you. How do you share your stories? Very simple. Just send me an email on cm@702.co.za. And thanks to all of you who send us emails to share your stories. They are quite helpful because there's people who listen who are like, oh my God, I've experienced something similar. So don't underestimate how connected we all are. So today we've got an email from, I think it's anonymous. Yes, anonymous. I'm going to read it to you and then afterwards take your calls and your WhatsApps. If anonymous is asking for advice, please be gracious enough to give them. Otherwise, if it's something they're sharing that you can relate with and you've been in that situation, you can also call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note. Here we go. Greetings, Clement. I hope you're well. Clement, I have been working as a driver, cleaner, and doing cooking for a year for a certain family in Sandton. I was a live-in helper. Suddenly, in April the 24th this year, the family decided to say I must take a week off and come back on the 4th of May, only to find out that they were looking for someone to replace me without me knowing. On the 30th of April, they called me and told me that I don't have to come back to work, but they will pay me for the month of May. But I don't have to come back because they saw that I've lost interest in my work. My question then is, am I overreacting by taking them to the CCMA, or were they right for doing that without having not sat with me and talked to me to discuss the problems with me first before taking their decisions. Another thing on my side, I had other offers before I took this job, which I didn't take, even though the money was better than this family, because I thought for them and the bond that I had with their son, so I was okay to just agree to that salary and remain with them. Mind you, it was only 6,000 Rand for driving their child to school, taking him to sports activities, cleaning, cooking, living with them. But I've never complained. But they decided to do what they did to me. I think they saw that I've been working for them for a year now, and they have to raise my salary, and instead they decided to replace me. Please, can you ask the 702 lenders if they have advice for me, and do they think me approaching the CCMA is the right approach? Okay, Anonymous, thank you so much for your email. So, here is Anonymous' conundrum. She took a job with this family in Sandton, and this family told her, just take a week off. As she was enjoying the week off, the family calls and says, hey, don't come back actually. We've seen that you've lost interest in your work. We've found somebody else. So she's now taking that family to the CCMA because she feels that they don't have a right to do that because they haven't even sat down with her to discuss any of the challenges that they have with her. But what she also is stressing about is the fact that she has forgone a lot of opportunities because of this family, even though this family wasn't paying her what she thinks or believes she should have been paid. But she decided to stay because she's got a bond with this child, and that's why she chose to just stay with them. And she's never complained. So if you've dealt with a similar situation, give me a call, or if you've got advice for Anonymous, 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 0727021702.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS LEGAL to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Behind every powered city is an operation making it possible. This Friday, our show will be live from the Matla coal mine in Kriel in Mpumalanga for the official opening of Exaro's Mine 1 expansion project. So find out how a 5.2 billion Rand investment, a new long-term coal supply agreement with Eskom, and a major mining expansion are helping secure South Africa's energy future for decades to come. This Friday on 702.
Imagine a holiday where the only thing on the to-do list is enjoy yourself. With Norwegian Cruise Line, you can sail to over 400 destinations worldwide effortlessly. Visit ncl.com for the best deals or contact your travel agent today. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. T's and C's apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
19 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's go straight to your calls now. Ilona, you are in Edenvale. Good morning.
Clement, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm okay, thank you very much. It just offends me that people do this to their employees,
Right?
especially domestic workers. I do want to stand by that lady and say to her she must definitely go to the CCMA. I don't believe that there's any cost involved for her to go to the CCMA, but I stand under correction in that regard. But I do believe she has a leg to stand on. You cannot treat people like that. I mean, it's unfair. They have committed her to taking care of their family, of doing all the hard labor that they didn't want to do, and now it's not okay anymore. No, the young lady must please go to the CCMA, and they will guide her accordingly, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And good luck to her. I wish her all the best, because just what's happening in this country regarding that kind of thing is just not on. Not good enough.
That's wild. Ilona, thank you for your call in Edenvale. Busisiwe, your thoughts. Good morning.
Hi, Clement. The lady that wrote the letter does have it is a CCMA case, and I think she's got 30 days to register the case with the CCMA, so she needs to ensure that the case is registered within 30 days, and I started to be corrected. Last time I checked, it was at 30 days. What should have happened is the family should have spoken to her before to say, we're not happy with this, we're not happy with that, and they had a discussion to say, because of this, we think we might let you go, sort of give her warnings and stuff like that. So they completely disregarded the law, and so she can take them to the CCMA.
Okay. Busisiwe in Pretoria, thank you. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Good morning, Clement, and your listeners. I think Anonymous should have brought her complaints on the table and dealt with them. It could be possible that whatever was bugging her was showing up in her behavior. Unfortunately, they've chosen to take somebody else because maybe her behavior was showing that she's no longer interested because of what she wanted to complain about and did not complain about.
But the anonymous doesn't indicate that there's issues that she had. She says that they just told her take a week off, and then the next thing, as she prepares to go back to work, and then they say, don't come back, by the way, we found somebody else. We picked up that you've lost interest in the work. But she doesn't say in the email, and of course, maybe there's more information we don't know because this is her story. But based on what she's sharing with us, it appears the people who had issues are this family in Sandton that then decided to just cut her off, and without even giving her an opportunity to know what the issues are, because isn't that what you do first? Speak to someone about the issue that you have, see if you can resolve it before you take the extreme decision of just cutting them off and they lose their employment. Ketani, you are in Midrand. Good morning.
Hi, Clement. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. I'm here to speak on behalf of the family.
Okay. Are you the family? Really?
No, but it sounds identical to what is happening right now to me.
Okay.
We had to let our helper go over the school holidays for the very same reasons. She started to show lack of interest in her work. We did sit her down, gave her a timetable, how we'd like things done. The small things, can you please sweep this, pick this up? I'll do it, never done. We have a small child in the house. A walk to the park was 2 minutes long because there's things flying in the park. And she was an older lady, so I had grace. I understood that she's not fit or strong as I am, but she never took any instructions. And sometimes I thought because maybe we're a very young family, and then we can't just say, do this, do that. I'd relay it in the most respectful way. But she was genuinely never interested. I felt like I was the helper. I was working at work, break my back. She was on her phone the whole time. And it's really stressful to tell an older person who you've grown to respect. And it's never an ideal situation to have people coming in and out of your house, like changing helpers.
Yeah.
It's not the most.
It's not.
That's your space. It's sacred. You're raising children. And she was a wonderful, I have nothing to fault about her personality, but zero work ethic. Umama cheese girl.
Cheese girl emsebenzini.
Yo, it is bengimsebenza. I worked. Like,
So, did you sit her down though, Ketani, to say, listen, this is what we're picking up. We're concerned about you not doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what was her response? Did things improve?
No. On that same day after our last talk, I was like, okay, well, Papa's gone doing drop-off. You can just mop quickly so that, when she comes back, the house is clean. She's like, oh, I've already mopped. It was visibly not mopped.
Ketani now, it
was, she was not doing anything. She was,
Okay.
anything. And we let her go gently. I gave her her May salary. I tried to do all the right things. And
okay.
It was not ideal. If I could have had her stay, I would have had her stay.
Yeah. Where do you stay, Ketani? Oh, in Midday. Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for calling us. So, yeah, it sounds like this case, because Ketani says we gave her a May salary, and Anonymous said they told her on the 30th of April that, this is not going to work. They called and said, no, don't come back. We will pay you for the month of May. Could it be or not? Jerry and Lucy, I'll start with your calls after the break. It's 13 before 12.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today, what happened on the JSE, what's happening overseas. All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
Africa's Travel Indaba is happening from the 12th to the 14th of May at the Durban Exhibition Centre. Look out for the Resurgence Conference Durban activation and learn about the July conference, which is focused on unlocking investment and connecting businesses to opportunities. Hosted in partnership with USA partners, Resurgence is where innovation, tourism, and growth meet. Visit stand DEC1H41. That's DEC1H41. This message is brought to you by eThekwini Municipality.
You can become a victim of a legal problem, wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
There are moments that don't look significant at first until everything changes because of them. Shift Happens with Richard Sutton, a new podcast exploring real stories of challenge, doubt, and turning points. Because growth doesn't arrive when everything is clear. It arrives when nothing is. Coming soon on PrimeMediaPlus.com, the Prime Media Plus app, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Powered by First Light, therapeutics for the modern mind.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
10 minutes before 12 o'clock. Lucy, you are in Pretoria. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning
Hello.
to everyone and the listeners.
Sure.
I just want to give my input with regard to today's topic. I agree with the other callers that the employer is completely wrong. That is not acceptable. I mean, if you want to fire someone, you need to give them notice and you need to sit them down. For example, in my case, right, we had a helper at home. I don't stay at home. The helper was staying with my mom, and my mom passed away. And the helper was very concerned that what will happen to her job. So I assured her that, no, even if my mom passed away, I will take over. And then should I be in a situation where now the financial responsibilities are too much for me, I will let you know in advance, maybe 3 months in advance, so that she can start looking for another job. So I think the employee should just take the employer to CCMA. It's completely unacceptable. Even myself at work, if my employer is not happy with me, I would appreciate if somebody sits down with me, and tell me that 1, 2, 3, you're not doing it accordingly, and offer me an opportunity to rectify it. So it's completely unacceptable. People have debts, people have responsibilities. You can't just dismiss a person like that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Lucy, thank you so much for your call in Pretoria. Jerry in Omonde, good morning.
Good morning, Clement. I also believe that the family has taken advantage of the situation. I mean, first of all, the reason for which the lady is being dismissed is very vague. They're saying you are not showing interest in you don't show interest in your job. What does that mean? What does it mean? Sit down with the person and then show them to the right direction. This is what we are employed to do, but we have discovered as a family that you are not doing this, you are doing that. Number two, I get very worried when more than one person is involved in making a wrong decision as a family. If it's a family business, I would expect that at least somebody in that family to say, but guys, hold on. That's not how to deal with the situation. This is how we should go about. Let's call the lady, sit down with her, and then, she would have to take the case to CCMA, and we all know the outcome. They're going to ask her for a compensation of about 3 weeks or a month, which means nothing.
Yes, yeah. Jerry in Omonde, thank you. Let's go to your WhatsApps.
Good day, Clement and team. When it comes to an issue of helpers, they become part of the family, and then somewhere, somehow, the line gets blurred because they get so comfortable that they no longer do their work that they were supposed to do. My helper was my cousin, so there were lots and lots of issues. Every time she has an issue with me, she would go to one of our family members instead of addressing it with me. So I sat her down, telling her that this is our home. So whatever issue you have with me, you have to address it with me. I am not perfect, and I know you are not perfect. So we need to sit down and talk. She was my sister. So I believe it was easier to talk to, or maybe not for her. I don't know. But I had to let her go because it was a lot.
Clement and the team, good day. Clement, I think the lady, she supposed first to call the family and sit down with them and ask what could have been the problem that led to them dismissing her. And then she needs to listen to what they are saying so that when she goes to CCMA, she had a compelling case to put on the table, because they are going to ask her questions. What could be the reason that you were fired? Then she will not know. So I think she needs first to hear from them so that she will compile a report that when she arrives at CCMA, she's able to say, these are the reasons that led me to lose my job. Then CCMA will look at those reasonings to judge whether the family were correct or not. So this is my thinking. It's GP in GP.
Morning, Clement and the team. Clement, I feel like it's a unfair dismissal, really. Firstly, because you were told to go home for 5 days for no reason. There was not even explanation. Is it an annual leave? Is it a family responsibility? When you come back to work, you're fired for what? Unfair dismissal. I say, take them to CCMA, get your money. If you want to go back and work. If not, not. Anonymous, thank you. Big teams,
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for all the advice that you've given, Anonymous. Anonymous, all the best. All the best. It's 4 minutes before 12.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. you can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Catch the Springboks live at Ellis Park this year. Lions fans, it's time to roar. Get ready for a season of pure adrenaline in the heart of Jozi. Secure your all-inclusive Lions membership starting from just 950 Rand. That's right. Less than $1,000 unlocks your seat to every Lions home match at Emirates Airline Park. That includes the one you've been waiting for, the massive clash between the Lions and the All Blacks this August. Don't get left at the gate for the biggest game of the year. Memberships are available right now at Ticket Pro. Own the season, back the pride, and get behind your team.
For over 4 decades, Exaro and Eskom have powered South Africa together. Now, that partnership grows stronger. On Friday, catch the Clement Manyathela Show live from the official opening of Exaro's Mine 1 expansion project in Kriel, Mpumalanga. The milestone marks a major investment into a long-term coal supply to Eskom's Matla power station and continued energy generation for millions of people. Don't miss the conversations shaping SA's energy future. That's the Clement Manyathela Show, live from Matla Coal Mine on Friday with Exaro, powering progress across Africa and beyond on 702.
Coming up
on the Midday Report.
It's 2 minutes now before 12 o'clock. Up next, Mandy Winner on the Midday Report. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's popping?
We're basically court radio today.
We're what?
We're court radio.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Cat appeared. Commissioner
appeared. Joe Ferrari's appearing.
Sibanyoni, taxi boss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sibanyoni's,
I saw him on the
he's
screen.
appearing. Everyone's appearing. Like everybody. Julius Mkonazi, Kapatlala, Fanny Masemola, 12 other high-profile cops, cops and politicians. Oh, and Fadil Adams is appearing as well.
My goodness.
So the
it's
courts
just
are
courts.
busy. The courts are busy. We're busy. That's what we're covering today. And then Action SA is laying criminal charges against President Ramaphosa over Palapala. They've gone to Bela Bela to go lay criminal charges.
All right. That's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Winner. Someone tagged me on a statement on Twitter by the Social Development Department. And the statement says the Department of Social Development confirms the suspension of the special advisor in the ministry. Remember, we've spoken a lot about Minister Sisisi Tolashe and her dodgy advisor. Well, the Public Service Commission came out and said that advisor was very wrong because he was involved in the fraud. Remember when they lied about the minister's chief of staff, who didn't have the qualifications nor the experience to be the chief of staff? This special advisor contributed in those lies. And now the department, from this statement that they've put on Twitter, seems to have put him on suspension, the special advisor to the minister. So you can hear more about this throughout the day here on 702. Thanks for listening to the show. Vandag will be back tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon. I'm Bali Zamini. The state has requested 6 weeks to investigate financial statements in the multi-million rand tender fraud case linked to alleged underworld kingpin Vusmuzikat Matlala. Matlala appeared alongside suspended National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola in the Pretoria Magistrates Court